Welcome to HOJO Radio.
And now a radio crime drama that ran on CBS from February 27th, 1949 to August 1st, 1954. Produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, the opening theme of I'll Take Manhattan introduced Detective Danny Clover, played by Larry Thor, a hardened New York cop who worked homicide from Times Square to Columbus Circle, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. We present to you Broadway's My Beat.
Broadway, My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle. The gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. Broadway, where you can take a bus ride into the summer evening and make believe it's a dreamboat. Then, Broadway's as innocent and nostalgic as carousel music. But if you walk, you can get hit in the face by a guy fishing for nickels under a grating. Then you can't make believe anymore. But either way, it's Broadway. My Beat.
Danny! Danny, come in here!
The big voice that boomed through the afternoon heat belonged to Silks Bergen. Him the heat couldn't bop. There wasn't enough of it. Silks was a jockey, about 5 hands high. With a wet saddle, he might have scaled 110. He waved to me from the doorway of a haberdashery store.
In here, Danny, in the store.
Yeah, Silks, sure.
I've been waiting. I said I've been waiting for you to pass by, Danny.
What's the matter with your voice, Silks? You're down to a whisper.
Laryngitis. Had it for a week. Hey, Danny, I wanted you should meet a friend of mine, Joe Murdoch. Say some hello to Danny Clover, Joe.
Hello, Mr. Clover.
Joe?
Joe's 6'6" and speaks like a tenor. You should know about things like that, Danny. Is it possible? Joe, go buy me a shirt over there. I got to talk to Danny.
Sure, Silk. The lavender and the polka dot.
The dots, Joe, the dots. Can you hear me good, Danny? My voice has got so far to go from down here from me to up there to you.
I'll listen close. What's in your mind?
I want you to, I said, do me a favor, huh? About the key.
Why didn't I think of it myself, about the key? What key, Silks?
Well, I'm riding a race down to Maryland tomorrow. You see, I don't know how long I'll be gone. Now, you understand?
Oh, that key. What key, Silks?
The key for the locker at the LaGuardia plane terminal.
Oh, now I know. That key for that locker. Huh?
I got a parcel check there. I ain't got time to run down for it now.
It begins to dawn, Silks.
Yeah, sure. So if I ain't back tomorrow night, how about having one of your boys who's on duty down there pick it up, huh? Yeah. And you hold it for me.
Yeah.
That'll save me rental, and it'll make us even for them riding lessons I'll give you in General Price.
Okay, Silks. Give her the key.
Thanks, Danny. Here. Now, don't lose it.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'll put it right here on my ring. By the way, what's in the parcel?
Just some of my riding silks, Danny. What else does a jockey own?
I patted Silks on the head, did him a fond yoiks, and mushed back into the tropical heat of Broadway. Tropical was an illusion that wasn't hard to believe. The crushed pineapple and papaya stands, the coconut milk in real whiskered coconuts, the sly, grinning beat of the native drums heard through wilting loudspeakers, the girls, the luminous girls in their grass sandals in 14th Street sarongs. And then one whose lips looked as if they'd been painted with wild strawberries stopped me. He kept me from my appointed rounds. I didn't mind.
I'm so honest. I don't have the price of a dream, and I'm honest. Here, you dropped this.
What?
This $100 bill. You dropped it. Take it before it burns through my hand.
$100. Wasn't I the careless one? Must have been in that Cracker Jack box I just threw away.
Never throw anything away, Mr. Clover. There can be a prize in each and every package.
That's a hard thing to remember. Will you help me try to remember, Miss...
Ames. Belle Ames.
Oh.
Do you ever need any help, Mr. Clover? Ring for Belle Ames.
That's cute. Very cute. Now maybe I can do something for you, Belle. Maybe give you back all this money you said I dropped.
All right. so I lied. All you have to do is believe you dropped that money and listen. See how easy it is? $100 and no pain.
For $100, you can throw in a little pain. Who do I listen to?
It's written on the bill. Marty wants to see you.
Oh?
Marty says it's easier to talk to people who have money. He likes people with money. He says they listen better that way.
I'm a fool for psychology, Belle. Let's go listen to Marty.
Not me, Mr. Clover. You. It's you he wants to listen.
Hey, come back here. Belle, come back here. The heat melted her into the crowd and then into a can. And I was left standing there with the after scent of a perfume I'd never smelled before and a $100 bill I'd never held before. I inhaled both of them. They added up to the acrid odor of a bride. I had to find out why. 42nd Street, the address on the bill said. I decided to walk. Somewhere between Broadway and the number I was looking for, the honky-tonk started. And at the corner where women's high heels slack more slowly and the handouts become more frequent, I took a right turn into limbo. 2 blocks down was what I was looking for. The last Paddock Hotel, room 16.
Come in. Right in.
Your name, Marty?
Yeah, that's my name, and these are my boys, Tinker and Dolly. Say greeting to the police, boys.
Police? Gee. Police? Golly day.
Boys are from out-of-town police like me. The word don't impress us.
You gonna give me some more money, Marty?
Maybe. Maybe money, maybe trouble. Guy has a hard time figuring which is which these days.
What you trying to buy, Marty?
Talk. I'm buying words like I'm an editor.
Marty's a kick, ain't he, Tinker? He's a regular comedian.
Your floor show stinks.
Well, they ain't really working, police. So let's stop playing footsie, huh? We got business, me and you. About an hour ago, police, a little guy hailed you into a haberdashery shop. He's got a message for you. What kind of message did he have?
You should have heard. All you need, Marty, is a long, thin ear.
Hey, the police is a kick, too, Dolly. A jolly boy, real jolly.
What did Silksbergen tell you, police? Who? Now, look, I got time. Time, patience. Let's do it again. Silksbergen, what did he tell you?
You looking for a tip on the horses?
I got a tip. You're it. Only you look sad for a win. You look like hardly anything at all. Show him the gun, will you, Dolly?
Yeah. Look, Mr. Police, this is a gun.
Golly day.
Let me have it, Dolly.
Yeah. Here, Marty.
Now, what did Silksbergen tell you, police?
Marty, you go to movies to see how guns will act in this kind of situation?
Yeah. Yeah, in a movie. Now, how did you know? Dolly.
Yeah?
Show the police the second reel.
Yeah, pleasure. A great big...
You know the language better than that, police. You might say something.
Your 2 muscles in your gun make me bashful.
Stage fright, huh? Dolly.
Yeah. Hey, Tinker, this is fun. You can play too, Tinker. Yeah, such a jolly guy. Playing movies with a jolly guy. A jolly guy.
Somewhere a light going on and off made a big noise and a bigger hurt just in back of my eyeballs. It screamed at me from across the street and through a window hung with grease-stained drapes. And I knew I was still in Marty's hotel room. I knew that hours had been torn out of my life and thrown away. Then the light screamed again, and this time there were words. Big 1,000-watt words that said, Pearl Club, delicious dancing girls. First one, then the other. And in between there was the creaking sound of a rocking chair. Then the rocking chair made words, too.
Don't hurry. It's rather pleasant here, sitting rocking in the dark with that brazen sign throwing its naked, intermittent light. This gun gives me the right to introduce myself. I'm Gil Sherry.
Oh, should I know you?
Perhaps. I believe I'm in the class book of one of our more venerated colleges. That's my identity. A thesis on Gil Sherry would make lurid reading for the boys of the old school tie, don't you think?
I wouldn't know. Read me a chapter.
Oh, delighted. Chapter 1 begins. Early in life, I learned to love money. It was a symbol of the sordid life into which I'd fallen. Now, sitting in a bleak, villainous hotel room, my comrade, a detective and a corpse.
The corpse and the detective. Is that all me?
Not quite. You're the detective, true. And the corpse is the true corpse lying in the corner.
Huh?
And I believe he's a friend of yours, Mr. Clover.
Silks. Silks.
Rather fancifully named, don't you think? Silks Bergen. Proud, colorful name. But pride and color seem to have drained out of him.
Maybe he's ashamed of wearing bullet holes where his polka dots ought to be. He was a neat little guy.
So? And he'd be pleased with death. Death is so precise.
Closes your mouth, too. That wasn't smart of Marty.
Marty realizes that. That's why I'm to keep watch over you. Until you open yours and tell us what Silks had to tell you, huh? Oh, by the way, here are your meager belongings.
Yeah.
Your wallet, a key ring, your badge, and $100 bill. Marty's orders.
That's good of him.
All there?
Yeah. You said $100 like there were words that hurt you.
As I suggested, money is beautiful, Mr. Clover. Money buys money. Money is an ecstasy of an exquisite pain.
Oh. Gil, I dropped the bill. Huh? If you pick it up from me, I'll let you hold it for as long as you want. Run. Touch it, Gil. Feel it.
Oh, I'll get it.
Yeah, Gil. And get this! I'm not going to send my boys to college. Their noses break too. Took 15 minutes for the riot squad to clean up room 16. I booked Gil Sherry as an accomplice to murder, and the morgue booked Silks Bergen. The thing I had to do now was break a promise to a dead man. I couldn't wait until tomorrow to use Silk's key, the key that Marty didn't even notice. A half hour later, I was in the big waiting room at LaGuardia Field.
American Airlines DC-6 leaving at Gate 5 to Chicago and Los Angeles. Loading at Gate 4.
Hiya, Lieutenant Clover. What brings you down here? You're an officer. Had any trouble? Lots of thieves? No, only trouble was a 3-year-old kid in a $400 cowboy suit screaming because he lost his nurse and chauffeur at the same time. Where's locker 147? 140? Right over here, sir. Let's go. Now, let's try this key. Suitcase, Lieutenant. Yeah, pretty heavy. Something you're looking for? Hold on a second. As I get this open. Holy, all that dough. 10s and 50s and 100s. Yeah. What could be bought with that? It's been bought, officer. A lot of blood. Bought and paid for.
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. Practically all of Casey, crime photographer's adventures are summed up in the title of tonight's show, Big Danger. If you haven't met this ace newspaper cameraman, his pretty assistant, and Ethelbert, the merry bartender, if you're looking for a top-rating thrill show, be sure to hear this latest of crime photographer's adventures. Along with Escape, which tonight will present Irvinette Cobb's Snake Doctor, crime photographer is heard on most of these same CBS stations.
He is handicapped with a heavy $100,000 left in a pasteboard suitcase in a public locker. It didn't make sense for Silks to have that kind of money. Even to sane, sensible, sensitive Sergeant Tartaglia, it didn't make sense.
It don't make sense, Danny. Silks with $100,000 left kicking around. That's not like him.
Yeah. Got a cigarette, Tartaglia? I put a carton in this desk drawer a week ago, and I haven't been able to open it since.
Oh, here, let me try, Danny.
It's stuck, Tartaglia. Just give me a cigarette.
Danny, my wife, Mrs. Tartaglia, says I am the best opener of stuck drawers she ever saw.
Give me a cigarette.
Yeah, sure. Here, Danny. Hey, and how about some circus peanuts to munch while we're thinking?
When do you have time to go to circuses, Sergeant?
Oh, not me, Danny. It wasn't me, it was my kid. Yeah, there was a street carnival on Mulberry Street, so it was my kid.
Okay.
Oh, for a minute there, Danny, I thought you were munching me out.
All right. Playtime's over, Sergeant. We had any reports that anyone is shy $100,000?
No, Danny. The money has been reported, neither lost, stolen, nor strayed.
Did you check whether Silks made any bets that would have got him that kind of money?
Yeah, Danny. The word from our schoolies is that no bookies is out that kind of dope. Not out to Silks, anyway. The word also is that Silks didn't have a wrinkle deuce to bet on his own name.
Yeah. What do we got on the man they call Marty?
Not a thing. aside from his autographed $100 bill. Well, we can't find him, Danny. We can't trace him from no place to no place. Danny, you feel all right from that beating?
I've had it better. Sergeant, what's on Belle Dane?
Likewise.
It's an empty day with a hole in it, isn't it, Chattanooga?
Yeah. Huh?
If you want me, I'll be in Gil Sherry's cell. There must be somebody who can tell me something. Anything.
There's no need to humiliate me further, Mr. Clover. Being forced to talk to you is humiliation enough.
Murder doesn't bother you, huh?
As long as it's not mine.
Dying can come to a man a lot of ways, Sherry. You could die as an accessory to Silk's murder.
Well, there are so many things to prove, though, before I die, aren't there, Detective Clover?
If you told us some secrets, you could maybe keep on living. That's as good as money sometimes.
True. That's why I keep my mouth shut. I'll breathe longer that way.
You mean Marty will kill you if you talk to us? I'm not brilliant like you, Sherry, but it seems to me you'll lose either way.
Man has few choices, but the destiny of Gil Sherry will spin itself out as Gil Sherry chooses. That's what my class book said about me.
Yeah, real prophet, your classmates. Real prophet.
Here's the envelope with Sherry's belongings you asked for, Danny.
Thanks. I return your meager possessions, Sherry. Your cigarettes, empty wallet, the fraternity pin, and... This is interesting. Roll of tickets to Pelagus Shooting Gallery. You know Pelagus, Sherry? Pelagus, the ex-bookie? You shoot at his shooting gallery? Yeah, that's what I thought. Happy destiny, Sherry. Happy destiny. Oh, Pelagus. Keeping in trim?
Follow me, Daddy. You're in my way.
Oh, sorry. Nice shot. You angry at somebody?
What's on your mind?
Guy named Marty?
Yeah. You like that shot?
Makes me quiver with excitement.
You think I hit that duck twice before it sinks?
I doubt it.
See what I mean?
You still booking races, Pelagus?
I got caught once.
You still booking?
You're in my way again.
Try getting used to it, Pelagus. Try this. Where would Silksbergen get $100,000?
Yeah. Where?
From you?
Oh, just from me. From police. I give people $100,000, eh? That's why I'm running this thing to shooting gallery, because I give such big price. You hit that duck, Lieutenant, I give you $100,000 price. Is that what you mean?
Hello.
No, I say, Tyler.
Sono vane Joe Murdoch nesse sopotano. Betty Mama.
Oh, Betty Mama.
Joel Murdoch. Joel Murdoch. Silk's friend, the big guy with Silks in the haberdashery. Pelagus, what's he saying about Joe Murdoch?
It's hard to explain.
Hard, eh? Like this.
Joe Murdoch. Oh, he's against it. Murdered. That is it, Thomas Acosta.
Don't spare me that last either. What did you say?
May he rest in peace.
Yeah. See you around, Pelagus.
Seen a store. Danny Clover. Assistant on that security.
With a thought, I had to think that pal Joey Murdoch was dead for the same reason that Silks was. I checked headquarters, found out that Murdoch's last known address was the Last Paddock Hotel. He shared a room there with Silks. The environment made its own possibilities. The lobby of the Last Paddock had a new embellishment. Above the clerk's desk was an embroidered wreath. To Silks, it said, "You finally beat the bookies." The clerk didn't sound funereal at all.
Sorry, mister, you gotta come recommended. The Last Paddocks don't rent rooms to just any think that ask.
I didn't mention room. The sign under your chin says information. I'll take that.
You don't look like you carry that much dough.
I got it sewn under my lapel. Here, take a look.
A cop? A shaman?
A real friendly policeman, mister. Come on, the information.
Now, look, I'm a new boy here. You ring that bell, I give you the register. You sign it, you got a room. That's how it works. That's all I know.
Yeah. Say, that's a pretty big safe over there. Why such a big safe for such a small flea bag? New, too.
Yeah, new.
How come? How come such a big new safe?
Look, like I said, I'm a new boy.
Look, friendly, we got laws about new boys that get close to new murders. Put your after lunch sign on the counter. We're going uptown.
No, wait a minute. About that new safe. See, we had an old one.
What happened to it?
Well, yesterday the boys opened the old safe, and all it gave back was an empty stare.
The boys did. What boys?
The boys, the guys that live here, the bookies.
Oh, they kept their money in a safe, huh?
Well, sure, it's much safer than a bank.
No peeping T-men that way, eh? That way the bookies don't pay income tax. That way, if their money gets stolen, they can't run to the police.
Yeah. And that's all I know. You can take me uptown, and that's still all I know.
Yeah. Don't go away, friendly. Maybe soon you'll be able to tell your story to an audience.
Get in the car, Clover.
Well, Marty. Good seeing you, Marty. I've been looking all over for you.
Get in the car, Clover. Dolly's looking at you with a gun pointed to where your badge might be. Now just get in the car.
Hey, Tinker. Hey. It's the police again. Maybe we'll get to play some more movies. After I take a gun.
Yes. Golly say.
You'll play later, boys. Wait out here.
Oh, Marty.
Wait. This way, police. In that house.
2 murders, eh, Marty? How does a guy feel when he's murdered 2 men?
A good feeling. I like it. Open the door.
Yeah.
There's someone I want you to meet again, Clover. In here.
Mr. Clover. Mr. Danny Clover. You mind if I blush with joy?
You can still think of a reason to blush, Belle?
Such pretty words for a man who's nearly dead. You got one chance, Clover. The dough, the $100,000. Where is it?
First, I'm going to tell you something about Marty, Belle. He had that money and he didn't know it.
What? What's he saying, Marty?
You tell us, Clover.
Belle, when Marty had me worked over, he should have taken a look at my key ring. One of the keys was for a locker. Locker, money. Marty, how could you be so stupid?
Answer the policeman, Marty.
So I made a mistake, Belle. Don't worry. We got the police. We'll get the dough.
$100,000, Marty, like that, right under your nose. Oh, Belle, you picked yourself a dull playmate. You can't afford a playmate who makes mistakes, Belle.
Marty, you fool. You stupid fool.
Belle. I've got to ask you, too, Belle. How does it feel to kill a man?
Where's the money, Mr. Clover?
At police headquarters, in my office.
Get on that phone, Mr. Clover. Get on that phone and have one of your flunkies bring it over. No tricks, Mr. Clover. Just tell them...
Hospitals come up close, huh, Belle?
Palegos.
It's me. Palegos, the Palegos Shooting Gallery. You see, Clover, how well they learn from Palegos?
You always teach them with a gun in your hand?
Yeah, one needs something to wrap one's pupil across the knuckles when she is bad. No, Belle?
Belle deserves it, Palegos. She tried to double-cross you. That makes 2. Belle and Marty.
Didn't know you were so much alike, Belle. You and Marty.
Don't listen to the policeman, Palegos. No, it's just you and me. Nobody else. It's you and me and $100,000.
Oh, sounds good. To me, that sounds good. How does it sound to you, Clover?
Speaking strictly from a personal point of view, I wouldn't believe it. From a personal point of view, that is.
But Palegos' point is view different.
It's all right, Palegos. It's all right, isn't it?
Oh, it couldn't be better. Just show me you mean it. Throw away your gun. Huh? On the floor, Belle. Throw away.
Oh, sure. Anything to say.
You're a good girl, Belle. Nice, good girl.
Palegos.
Belle was a nice girl. She had nice, good ideas, Clover. How did she say? Get on the phone and have a flunky bring money over. No trick.
That's how she said.
The flunky comes along, Clover. I tell you in English, not in Greek, so you understand. He comes alone in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Detective, this is Danny. Silk's dough. Yeah, the $100,000. Bring it here to me. Yeah, to 8 West 63rd. In my desk drawer, Tartaglia. It's in my lower left-hand drawer. Yeah. Yeah, right away. Come alone, Tartaglia. Alone.
You did good, Clover. Nice good. Now we wait. 20 minutes.
20 minutes, the man said. Just Pelagus and me. There's no one to play him off against. No Marty, no Belle. Just me. The fall guys I'd set up, Marty and Belle, all gone. It all belonged to Pelagus now. 2 new fall guys, Tartaglia and me. A few more minutes, the man said. Mostly, the man watched the clock.
You're lucky, Clover. In 2 minutes, you could have died. Open the door.
Hiya, Danny. Oh, here it is. I brought the dough just like you said. Hey, you know, it's good to get away from the office.
With a suitcase on the table.
Huh? Hey, it's Pelagos. Hey, and he's got a gun. Hey, Danny, what
Have a man a suitcase, Tartaglia.
Oh, whatever you say, Danny.
Clover. You're a nice, good fool. I get the money, you still die, huh? You and the funky.
Huh? Talk to us before we die, Pelagus.
I'd like to talk. What do we talk about?
That was your money. Silk stole it from the safe at the last paddock. Thought he could get away with it. He thought you couldn't do anything about it. But you cost it. You had Marty kill him and his friend Murdoch.
You talk all by yourself, Clover. You didn't let me say a word. Now pull your hands behind your head and stand facing the wall. You both. Good. That's nice, good. Now I want to look once more at my money. Too long since I looked at the money. My money. The money.
Something wrong, Pelagus?
This money.
It's what, Pelagus?
It's nothing but paper. Lousy torn up strips of dirty newspaper. Paper is nothing but...
Hit the floor, Tartaglia. I'll take it. Nice good, huh, Pelagus? Yeah. Nice good. First, I kissed Tartaglia on the top of his bald head, because today that's where his brain was. My lower left-hand desk drawer had been stuck for a week, and he'd gotten the cue. Dolly and Tinker, they were sitting outside, just like Marty told them, right in the middle of a police net, just like Tartaglia had arranged. So I kissed him again. So he invited me to a spaghetti dinner. Midnight's a happy time on Broadway. It's crowd and it's laughter, and it's a trumpet that screams. It's a place strung into the night like some phosphorescent alley, and there are heaps there, the bright-eyed kids, the voice that whispers from the doorway, the poet, the dregs. It's Broadway, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway, my beat.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with script by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Musical direction is by Lud Gluskin. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same station, for Broadway's My Beat. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
HOJO Radio. We're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
The FBI in Peace and War, ordinarily heard at this time throughout the year, is taking its usual summer vacation and will return to CBS 1 week from tonight on September 1st.
Broadway's My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover.
Broadway. It's a swamp that'll drag you breath by breath into its shadowed pools, or it's a meadow shining with golden light. It's a place and a time and a loneliness that reaches out for you, then beckons you into an airless room and locks the door. You get out or you don't. Either way, it's Broadway, My Beat. A man dies in silence and in dark, and the city sets up a shrieking clamor, and you're part of it. You ride a scream through the crowded, heat-heavy streets, and then you hit a dead end. And it's a building, and a room at the top of the building, and it's a man lying in the center of the room while other men take notes on the history of his dying.
All right, Joe, get one from this angle, huh?
Yeah, hold the light while I focus, will you? Hiya, Danny. Okay, that's good. Got it. Now get a shot of all that food. Oh, what a banquet this guy laid out for
Danny, come over here. This'll interest
It never interests me, Doc. What have you got?
Val Dane, the novelist. Ever read any of his stuff?
No.
Neither do I. The wife does, though. Says she's mad about him. But she went mad over Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm.
Let's have tea some other time, huh, Doc? Tell me about Dane.
Yeah, well...
Hey, first tell him about me, huh, Doc? Tell him about me.
Oh, yeah. Danny, this is
Clem Picasso. Yeah, that's who I am. Picasso.
Picasso? Haven't I heard your name someplace?
Sure you have. Clem Picasso, the painter. I paint flagpoles.
That's where it was. You were painting a portrait of a flagpole for Dane, is that it?
No, you don't understand. I'm the real article. Let me tell you about me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for me, you guys wouldn't even know Dane was dead.
Tell me more about yourself.
Well, I was painting a flagpole on top of this building, see? All of a sudden came a gust of wind. I grabbed hold of the pole, dropped my pail of paint right through that skylight there, see? I look for spilled paint. I find a dead man. That is the experience that happened today to Clem Picasso, flagpole painter. Unforgettable.
It'll live in my memory, too. You got anything to add to that, Doc?
Only this, Danny. This room is a fortress. Dane must have built it on top of his penthouse for a retreat. It's ventilated by an air conditioning system. The only source of outside light is that skylight, and that's at least 30 feet from the floor.
Mm-hmm.
There's no phone, and the room was locked and bolted from the outside. Dane couldn't get out. This place is bare. No writing materials, nothing.
Yeah, like a tomb. Maybe he needed this kind of atmosphere to think.
Maybe. All the boys found when they broke in here was Dane and that table, loaded with food, all jarred. Fruits, chicken, all sorts of good things to eat.
What's the matter, Doc? You hungry? Just tell me how Dane died.
He died of starvation, Danny.
Huh?
Yeah, all that food, and he died of starvation. Curious man, this Val Dane. Huh, Danny?
I could have dropped it right there. Val Dane, I told myself, had committed suicide by starving himself to death, thereby obtaining new material for his next novel. That's what I told myself. That's how much sense it made. And that's why I couldn't drop it. In New York, hardly anybody dies in a vacuum. A man as famous as Val Dane never does. There has to be a close friend or relative to break the news to, and in a case like this, to question. It wasn't tough to find out that Val Dane had a wife, now divorced, and the city directory said she lived on West 79th Street. The Department 105. As simple as that.
Yes, what is it?
You're Mrs. Dane?
Well, only approximately. Mr. Dane and I are divorced. I've kept his name for my son's sake. You're...
Danny Clover. I'm from the police.
Oh, how interesting. We've never had a caller here from the police. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
I do hope you'll stay until Jimmy comes home. Jimmy is my son, Mr. Clover. I'm sure he'd love to hear the experiences you'd have to tell him. In here, the living room.
Yeah, that's quite a collection of glass toys there on the floor. Clowns, building sets, animals, and all in glass. Jimmy must be an unusual boy.
Oh, yes, he is. That's all I have left in life, Mr. Clover. To make him happy.
There's something I have to tell you that might make you quite sad.
About Jimmy?
No, it's about your former husband, Val Dane. He's dead.
Oh, I'm so happy. Well, I mean, I'm relieved. I was afraid with Jimmy being on the street.
Then it doesn't affect you, Mr. Dane's death?
I think I should be more sad if I read in the papers that a man I never met had died at the age of 93.
I see.
No, you don't, really. How could I feel sorrow for Val Dane? He was a miserable 10 years thrust into my life.
Why do you say that?
Because he was a talented egoist. He cared nothing for Jimmy. Cared even less for me. We lived for him. He lived for Val Dane.
When did you see him last?
2 years ago. In that horrible cabin in the Adirondacks. He forced us to go there so we could write. And one more thing, Mr. Clover.
Yes?
When you write your report about me, put this down. Put down Joanne Dane, Val Dane's ex-wife. She's glad he's dead.
I didn't bother to tell Joanne Dane that her former husband had starved to death. I had a feeling she would have enjoyed that too much. And death doesn't need laughing at. But when I hit Broadway again, death was screaming at me in big black letters. Val Dane had become public property for a nickel a copy. You got the funny papers, too. I called headquarters and asked Sergeant Tartaglia if anything new had turned up. Something you have. Get back to your office right away, the sergeant said. There's a guy who wants to see you. He's hysterical. The sergeant wasn't kidding. Something in my office makes you laugh like that? The pollen, maybe?
I can't help it. It's rich. It's the richest one I've ever heard.
Okay, come out of it. Who are you?
My name's Brooks, Lyle Brooks.
Lyle Brooks, huh? Tell me gently, what's so rich?
Oh, I think of it again, Lieutenant. I shall roll on your floor in continued convulsions of hilarity.
And think of something real sad, like a right to the jaw, and tell me what's on your mind.
Why, Val Dane starved to death. Don't you think that's funny? No? Well, I think it's funny.
What tickles you about a man's death, Brooks?
About Val's death? He was such a pig, and he starved to death. Well, that, Lieutenant, is humor. Category ironic humor.
What's your interest in Val Dane's death?
I'm his ghost.
Ghost, huh? Tartaglia.
Yeah, Daddy. Now, what do you want?
Book this guy for impersonating a human.
Hey, that's a serious...
Right now. Tartaglia, book him.
Well, sure. For impersonating a human, huh? Come on, you.
Policemen have a sense of jest, too, I see.
Come on, you.
So I'll explain. I am Val Dane's ghost.
You're doing it again, Brooks.
His ghost writer. I did much of the writing, which is credited to our so literary Mr. Dane. That's why I came to give myself up.
To give yourself up, huh? Did you have anything to do with this dying?
Assuredly not. But you might think so. I hated him. Val Dane cheated me time and again. But this time was the biggest cheat of all.
What's he talking about, Danny?
I'm talking about The Great Fake, Val Dane's latest book. I wrote at least half of it, you know. Got no credit. Val said I would get credit.
What are you trying to tell us?
Just this. If Val Dane met with foul play in any way, I should head your list of suspects. Me and Cynthia, of course. We mustn't forget Cynthia.
Oh, we can't forget her. Cynthia who?
Cynthia Troy. Why, everybody knows she's the woman in The Great Fake. Heaven, do you mean to say you haven't read the book, Mr. Clover?
Mr. Clover hadn't, but Mr. Clover did. The Great Fake, new novel by Val Dane, available at your favorite bookstore, $3 the copy. I bought it, noted it carefully on my expense account, and went home and curled up with $3 worth of vitriol. Because that's what the novel was. A book of hate, a sneering book, a book without humor. There wasn't a person in it, only caricatures dipped in acid. And the leading woman of the novel had been dipped deepest of all. It tweaked me. The next morning, I just had to see her.
I'd been expecting a call from the police, Mr. Clover. Drink?
No thanks, Miss Troy.
Then you won't mind if I do.
No.
I realize it's before noon, but then I haven't had my breakfast yet. You sure you won't have a drink?
Yeah, I'm sure. Just why had you been expecting a call from the police, Miss Troy?
Because I have no doubt about your intelligence. One thing you must know in my business is never to underestimate anybody.
Mind if I ask what your business is?
The same as in Val's novels. I give parties, Mr. Clover. I arrange that the unfortunate rich be impressed by their leisure and their wealth, by opulent and clever parties, Mr. Clover, for an opulent price, Mr. Clover.
Now the question, Miss Troy. Why were
you expected, Mr. Clover? The answer is a question. How do you get a man to starve to death?
I've been asking myself that. You think somebody got Val Dane to starve?
Undoubtedly. Val Dane was a man whose only love was Val Dane. He was too jealous of his love to kill himself. He would never commit suicide.
Then you think he was murdered?
I believe I implied that, don't you?
Did you kill him?
The idea titillates me. Yes, it's a rare thought. Ask me that again, Mr. Clover.
Look, Miss Troy, the social graces aren't one of my, social graces. In your circle, how do you tell a lady to quit stalling?
By telling her.
Then let's quit stalling, huh?
Very well. You've read Val's novel, yes? It made a fool of me, didn't it?
Is that why you killed him? Locked him in that room and starved him to death?
I should like to have done that, Mr. Clover. The idea...
Yeah, I know. It titillates you.
You've started a train of thought, Mr. Clover. I should like to have locked him in that room and spent days of ecstatic joy watching Val Dane starve.
I went back to the clean, almost domestic air of the police laboratory and waited while the lab boys checked and rechecked the coroner's report. No matter how you shook it, it came out that Val Dane had died of starvation. Then it caught up with me what Cynthia Troy had said. It would have given her days of ecstatic joy to watch Dane starve. There was only one place anyone could have done that. That was from the roof and through the skylight of Dane's death room. I took a uniformed officer with me because maybe that kind of ecstasy leaves a clue.
Danny, I've been over every inch of this roof. There ain't a particle of it that ain't intimate and familiar to me. I'm also sick of the sight of it under my nose.
Okay, officer. You can get up off your hands and knees now.
Thanks, Danny. You know, Danny, maybe it'd help if you told me what it is we're looking for.
I don't know. Threaded cloth, a cigarette butt, the smell of hate.
The smell... Huh? Hey, Danny, you dizzy from the altitude or something?
No. You can go now, officer. I won't need you anymore.
Okay. Hey, you know, it's kind of pretty up here.
Huh.
All the lights of the city. See, that reminds me, I think I'll take my wife to the top of the Empire State Building. It'll be like a second honeymoon. Well, so long, Danny. Don't stay too long in the night air.
Yeah. There has to be something. Didn't make sense what I saw. A piece of Scotch tape stuck to one of the panes of the skylight. I leaned down to examine it. And then there was something that did make sense. The sound of someone moving toward me. And then I whipped out my gun and ducked behind the jut of the skylight. And then it found me. When I woke, a sickly dawn spread itself over the roof and over me. I took inventory and found I was missing 2 items. A valuable hunk of skin from my right temple and a piece of Scotch tape. Just that. Scotch tape.
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. A thrill a minute. High-tension suspense from the word go. Dramatic excitement that builds and builds until it explodes in a smashing climax. That's Inner Sanctum, the great mystery show that's another of CBS top-notch Monday night programs. You'll find Inner Sanctum one of the most entertaining spots on your Monday night listening schedule. And remember, Lux Radio Theater returns next Monday, August 29th, for its 15th year of great dramatic presentations. Inner Sanctum, Lux Radio Theater, every Monday night over most of these same CBS stations. Now back to Broadway's My Beat.
Morning on Broadway is like any other August morning on 1,000 other main drags. People are caught up in a salary to be earned, baseball scores, and the heat. You keep moving and do the best you can. The best I could do was to try to push my way through a brick wall. Progress was practically at a standstill. But by now, one thing was obvious. I had a murder on my hands. Val Dane had been found starved to death in a locked room with a banquet spread before him. That in itself was something to nick the curiosity. But when I got too curious, somebody had taken a shot at me. Draw a line and add that up, and you get a 6-letter word meaning foul play. At headquarters, after I had my head bandaged, Sergeant Tartaglia was terse and intelligent about the whole thing.
I can't figure it, Danny.
Now, don't try it, Tartaglia. If you could figure it, you'd become invaluable to the department. You'd never get your pension. Did you get what I told you to?
Yeah, 1 piece of frosted glass, just like you said.
Thanks. Where'd you get it?
Now, Danny, where would you get a piece of frosted glass at police headquarters? Out of the men's powder room. You better hurry up with it.
Yeah. I will tear off a piece of Scotch tape. Well, we'll paste it over the glass like this.
What are you doing, Danny?
Pasting Scotch tape on frosted glass. It's the latest craze. Now we hold it up to the light. Look through it, Tartaglia. Get up close and look through it.
Hey, you can see right through it. The part of the glass with the Scotch tape on it, you can see right through. Hey, that's a neat trick, Danny.
It's also a clue, Sergeant. The skylight to Val Dane's retreat was frosted glass. Somebody stuck that missing piece of tape on the glass so they could watch Val Dane die.
Uh-huh.
Tartaglia, suppose you were locked in a room loaded with food and you were starving to death. What would you do?
I'd eat the food.
Unless what, Tartaglia?
Unless nothing, Danny, I'd eat the food.
Unless what, Tartaglia?
Danny, I said I'd eat the food unless it was Unless it was poison, Danny.
You're so right. Tartaglia, I want all the food found in Val Dane's room transferred to the technical lab right away. I want every piece of it analyzed for poison. I want the analysis on my desk as soon as possible.
Right.
Now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Danny Clover speaking.
Plainclothes measure cup, sir. Signed to follow Cynthia Troy.
Okay, Mexico, what do you got?
At 9 a.m. this morning, Cynthia Troy entered the Fifth Avenue apartment of one Michael Green.
Who?
Cream. Michael Cream. C-R-E-A-M. Cream. You know, like in cream. So I took a plant in the hall. At 9:15, I heard loud voices, which at 9:20 become a heated argument.
Who's this Merkel Cream?
Oh, him I checked. He's a yogi.
A yogi, huh? Oh, that's interesting. These guys go on starvation diets to get next to their souls. Thanks, Mexico. Stick with Cynthia. Hey, Tartaglia.
Yeah, Danny.
Get my bed of nails. I'm calling on a yogi. The yogi with a homogenized name, Merkel Cream, lived in a rich, creamy Fifth Avenue mansion with a high money-fat content. The outside stairs were covered with a thick layer of perfumed oriental carpet. When you rang, a girl made of copper with bells on the ankles of her bare feet and a jewel stuck in the middle of her forehead opened the door. With a scented arm, motioned you into the presence. The presence was a muscular man with the body of a professional football player, wearing a plumed turban and an imported English tweed loincloth. He sat in the middle of the floor, bathed in the celestial glow of a baby pink spotlight. And then the presence spake.
You have come...
Yeah, Mr. Cream,
Speak not when I speak. You have come...
You said that.
You have come to attune yourself to the eternal harmony that lies 6 fathoms deep in the cosmic sea. You will go into the cleansing room.
Huh?
You will go into the cleansing room and there cleanse yourself and attire yourself in a loincloth. You will find a suitable array hanging from pegs. The panther skin for you, I think.
Look, Mr.
Have
Cream...
no fear. They are sterilized after each use. Now go, tortured one, go.
Look, Cream, I'm not here to cross your palm with
How
silver.
dare you speak to Merkel Cream thus? How dare you, savage?
That's me. Look into your crystal ball and tell me why you should scream at a tortured one named Cynthia Troy and vice versa.
How did you know? Don't answer. I will answer for you. You are omniscient, clairvoyant, like the me that is the true me.
Like the me that is Danny Clover, New York police. I got a hunk of protoplasm named Meshikov who floats under windows and soaks up things like a fishwife brawl between you and Cynthia.
But you are clairvoyant. The Cynthia underneath Cynthia is a fishwife.
She pays you to tell her that?
Cynthia Troy is a disciple. Disciples fall out sometimes, as you know.
I've heard. Val Dane, he was a disciple, too. What did you do to Dane, Yogi? Put him on a starvation diet for his eternal harmony?
Then you've read his book.
Yeah, he gave you a paragraph. Let's see if I can remember the exact words. The Yogi, a vicious parasite, a jeweled vampire, a stinking phony. Did I quote the exact words exactly, Yogi Cream?
Dane died in a way that pleases me. He died in an agony of hunger. What does it matter if his exact words are remembered? To him or to me, what does it matter?
Yeah. Get up, Cream. You're coming with me. I got a feeling you can give me better answers with your pants on.
You believe that I'm a fake? You believe what Dane said of me?
To put it bluntly, Cream, yeah. Sorry, but yeah. Maybe Dane killed your lush racket with his bestseller. Maybe you knew it would. Maybe you arranged for him to die. Let's go.
Help me up, Mr. Clover.
Yeah, cosmic harmony makes you weak. All right.
You know I can't afford to go to jail. It would ruin me.
Let go of me.
If you move, Mr. Clover, I'll break your back as if it were a stick of wood.
Let go of me.
A little trick I learned from a man on Amsterdam Avenue. 10 judo lessons for $20. Worth it, don't you think? Don't you think?
I got my lessons for free.
Well, send them back. They're no good.
Let's find out, shall we? Let's find out. Now, my way, Cream. Let's do it my way. Oh. Well, what do you know? The Yogi found cosmic harmony. Has to be a phone in this dump. Yeah.
Headquarters, Tartaglia speaking.
Tartaglia, this is Danny. Send a stretcher to pick up Yogi.
This is from
Merkel cream?
Yeah, he spilled out of his bottle.
One stretcher coming up. Hey, Danny, we got a report on that food.
Yeah? Give it to me.
I was about to, Danny. You know, it is very interesting.
Detective, if you don't talk fast, order a stretcher for yourself, too. What about that food?
Well, that's what I'm telling you, so interesting. It was not poison, Danny. Val Dane's food was not poison.
Until the Yogi was in condition to talk to me, I had to talk to myself. What kind of man was Val Dane? That was the big question, the important question. Locked in a room long enough to starve to death, and he refused to touch the food, the unpoisoned food at his fingertips. Why? What was the mentality of the man? Once, long ago, he had been human enough to marry, to have a family. Maybe that was the clue. Once somebody loved him. Maybe his ex-wife, Joanne Dane, would be calmer now. Maybe she could divorce her memory from ugliness.
What are you talking about?
Her son, Jimmy.
Mister, you got the wrong address. Joanne's got no son. Nobody lives here by the name of Jimmy. Say, what kind of a detective are you anyway?
Yeah. What kind, Clover? Let's go find out.
Oh, here are the vital statistics you asked for, Danny.
Yeah?
Hey, when are you going to take me to see South Pacific, Danny?
Oh, any day now, doll. I'm just waiting for that inheritance.
Oh, Danny, stop pulling my leg. Here. Know the vital statistics, Danny.
Read it to me, doll, because your voice is like honey. Read it to me.
Get him. James Dane, age 4, son of Val and Joanne Dane. Died June 22nd, 1947. Cause of death, accidental poisoning. Death spasms took 4 hours. Remoteness of cabin in Adirondacks made it impossible to reach boy in time to help. Signed, Dr. James Robeson. Hey, Danny, where you going? I haven't finished. Danny, come back here. I've got some things to settle.
I was out when you called before, Mr. Clover.
Yeah, I know. Joanne, your landlady said you'd gone for a walk.
With Jimmy. Jimmy loves to walk on a sunny day like this.
Where's Jimmy now?
Out playing.
Joanne, I asked you before. Now, don't lie. When was the last time you saw Val Dane?
I won't lie. A few weeks ago, as I told you.
A few weeks ago, yeah. Another question. Why did you go to see him?
To ask him for money. I hated myself for it, but Jimmy needs clothes. You see, he'll be going to school this fall, and...
I see. Joanne, did you take anything with you, anything that you gave to Val?
Well, I don't think so. I can't remember that I did.
Food?
Why...
food in jars, chicken, preserves, things like that?
Well, now that you mention it, Mr. Clover, yes, I think I...
Yes, Joanne, you told Val that food was poisoned, didn't you? Just before you left, just before you closed the door behind you. You told Val it was poison, didn't you, Joanne?
What are you talking about?
Just before you locked the door and bolted it behind you, you told him that. You pointed a gun at him and told him that.
Why should I do that?
Joanne, listen to me. Jimmy is dead, isn't he?
Jimmy dead? Jimmy dead?
Jimmy died 2 years ago. You know that, Joanne.
No, what? I don't know what you're saying.
In the Adirondacks, one summer 2 years ago. Jimmy took some poison by mistake. There was no way to get help soon enough. You and Val had to watch him die.
You're making all that up.
You blamed it on your husband. You blamed him for bringing you there because it was so remote.
No. It wasn't that way at all.
Yes, it was. You left that food with your husband, Joanne. You told him it was poisoned. You knew he'd never have courage to taste that food after seeing the way Jimmy died. Your husband took his chances with starvation rather than suffer the way Jimmy did.
Jimmy suffered? Jimmy dead?
Yes, Joanne, he's dead. These glass toys are only a lie that you're making yourself
Put
believe.
them down. They're Jimmy's toys.
Your final revenge, Joanne. You had to watch Val die.
Yes.
You came back each night to look through the skylight.
Yes.
And finally, when he was dead, you came back to remove that tape. That's when you saw me.
Yes. And I want to kill you because I was frightened of you, Mr. Clover. That's the only reason. I didn't hate you then. You've got to believe me. I didn't hate you.
Joanne.
But I hate you now. And I've got to kill you now, Mr. Clover. I've got to.
Joanne, put down that gun.
I'll kill you. You broke Jimmy's toys. You broke them. Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy, all your beautiful toys broken. All your toys. Oh, Jimmy. How can you forgive me, son? I'm sorry. Oh, you're
Hello?
beautiful.
Give me the police department. This is Danny Clover. No, I don't want a riot squad. want an ambulance. The doctor. It took 15 minutes for them to come, and in that time I watched the shadows soak up the remnants of her mind. How do you tell a woman her life is done? How do you fill it in reports? How do you make statistics out of it and file it in a ledger? How do you write sorrow as a number? How? Broadway's really living now. It's got a creamy yogi back in circulation. Cynthia is throwing a marvelous party for Patrolman Mishikev. And the ghost, Lyle Brooks, he's haunting another author. Broadway's jaunty now, and it wears a chip on its shoulder. It's flexing its muscles and daring the nighttime. And before it's over, it'll tear itself apart and laugh at its own agony. It's Broadway, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway, my beat.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor, Detective Danny Clover, was directed tonight by Cliff Howell, with script by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Musical direction is by Lud Gluskin. That man is coming back again. Yes, Arthur Godfrey is returning from his vacation, and he'll be helping some promising young performers up the ladder of success when Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts return to the air next Monday night over most of these same CBS network stations. Along with the Talent Scouts, you can hear such great shows as My Friend Irma, Inner Sanctum, the Lux Radio Theater, and the Bob Hawke Show, all on Monday night and all on CBS. Stay tuned now for Mr. Keene, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, where you hear Lux Radio Theater every Monday, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next broadcast was the brainchild of Jack Webb and may very well be the most well-remembered and best radio police drama series of all time. It ran from September in 1949 through February 1957 in 30-minute shows broadcast on NBC, and it brought to radio true police stories in a low-key, documentary style. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Dragnet on HOJO Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A gang of quick-trigger gunmen have moved in on your city. They've given public notice that they'll kill the first cop who tries to take them. You know the risks, your job. Apprehend the suspects.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case, from beginning to end, from crime to punishment. Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, April 17th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My partner's Ben Romero. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the record bureau. It was 4 minutes to 6 when I got to room 42. Homicide. Say, Ben, I pulled the package on the Raymond killing.
And that proves you can still read, Friday.
He said it, Joe. Your pal, Fred Lindsay.
Hiya, Fred. What's doing?
Busier than you are. We know what we're looking for.
Just having a little trouble finding them.
That's the way it is with automobiles. They misplace so easy.
Not normally, they don't. We got a small-size epidemic on our hands.
Well, don't let us keep you, Fred.
Just ducked in here for a breath of calm air and to invite you to dinner for the last time.
The wife and I are still waiting for the first time.
How about it, Joe? Ruth's got a new pressure cooker.
Your sister-in-law visiting you again, huh?
No, on the level. Not selling a thing.
Come on. Who is it this time?
My cousin. But she's awfully pretty, Joe.
Oh, why do you guys insist on trying to marry me off?
Me and Fred went down fighting, but it kind of grows on you after a while.
Now tell me, what is it about a married man? Just can't stand to see one single man left in the world.
How about it, Joe? Tomorrow night at 7, okay?
Okay, tell Ruth I'll be there.
It figures that he's got to run out of kinfolks pretty soon.
Fine, we'll be expecting you. Got a stakeout tonight, but tomorrow I'll be clear.
Anything big?
Nothing definite, Ben. Just to follow up on those stolen cars. See you, men.
So long, Lindsay.
Joe, you'll like my cousin.
Oh, never say die. What a character.
You just catnip to women, Joe.
Yeah. Well, here's that Raymond package. Let's check those dates that Backstrand wanted, huh? Wednesday, April 17th was just routine. A dinner date I tried to get out of, some paperwork that the chief wanted done, and a hot, sticky day. Too hot to wear a suit of clothes. Sometimes it's like that. A day starts out being routine. By the time it comes of age, it's got a personality all its own. At 10:23 that night, Ben and I were just finishing up the paperwork, and Ed Backstrand opened his office door.
Friday, Romero, just got a hotshot call.
What you got, Skipper?
Hold up and shooting at Hooper and Esperanza, code 3.
Code 3, that means red light and siren. It was 10:32 when Ben and I pulled up at the corner of Hooper and Esperanza. It was a bar in the basement of a building on the south side of the street. A radio car was there, and the two officers were holding the crowd back. A man was talking to one of the officers who turned and pointed to us. As Ben and I got out of our car, the man hurried over to us.
You're the detectives?
That's right, Sergeant Friday.
My name's Cummings, R.L. Cummings. I own the bar. This is terrible. There was a gunfight downstairs.
Come on. Where's the ambulance?
One of the officers in the radio car said we needed the coroner.
Did you see the actual shooting?
No, I didn't. Here's the fellow that was shot.
Oh, there's Jones from the crime lab.
Hello, Friday. Romero.
Hi, Lee. What do we got here?
Pretty bad. Looks like a shotgun. Close range.
He really got in the way of it.
Ben.
Yeah.
It's Fred Lindsay. Motor theft.
He was on a stakeout, Lee.
Tell us about it, Mr. Cummings.
You know this fellow, Sergeant?
Yeah, we know him. What happened?
We had a holdup tonight. 3 men.
Yes, go on.
Well, business was good, real good. We had a large crowd, and I was happy about that because I've been trying to sell out for a long time now. I've been showing the place to different parties all week long. I had a fellow coming over tonight to take a look at it.
What time was that?
Oh, a little less than an hour ago, about 9:30.
I see. Go ahead.
It was almost time for this man to show up, so I called Eddie, that's my bartender, and I told him to kind of keep a lookout for the man because I was going back to the office to get the books ready to show. You know how it is when you want to sell a business. You'll watch for him, Eddie?
You bet I will.
If you want me, I'll be back in the office.
Keep your mouth shut and stand still.
Huh?
You own this bar, don't you?
Well, yes. What is this?
You're the boy we want to see.
Which one of you?
All 3 of us.
What's going on?
What's it look like, genius? It's a stick-up.
I haven't any money.
You go to the bank on Thursdays, don't you?
Well, I made my deposit today instead.
I've been watching you for a month now. Don't give us that. You go to the bank on Thursdays. Now, come on, hand it over.
I'm telling you the truth. I usually go on Thursdays, but I went today instead.
You're lying, Ace, and we ain't got much time.
Look, you can have all the money I've got on me. I think it's about $200, but that's all I have. Here.
Why you argue with him? Take what he's got and we'll shake the customers down.
No, please don't do that. You got my money. Isn't that enough?
No, it ain't. Oh. Come on, let's go out front.
That's about all I remember, Sergeant. When I come around, I was lying on the floor of my office.
You better have somebody take a look at that cut on your face.
Yeah, I'm going to right away. There's my bartender. He saw the fight.
What's his name, Eddie?
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yes, sir? These men are detectives, Eddie. Will you tell them what you saw?
Oh, it was pretty rough.
And tell us what happened when they started the shooting.
That fellow the coroner just took out of here sure was long on nerve. Took on all 3 of them single-handed.
Tell us what you saw.
You ought to get that fellow's name. Sure had a lot of nerve. Took over just like he was a cop.
He was a cop. Now, what did you see?
I pegged him for a cop. Well, he was sitting up at the bar. Been nursing a bottle of beer for about an hour. I was keeping an eye on the front door, watching for this fellow the boss wanted to see, so I didn't see the 3 hold-up men come through from the back, but I heard them.
All right, let's knock it off. You can all see this shotgun. Anybody make a move, and I'll blow your head off. Demas, cover the front door.
Got it.
Sickle, shake him down.
Okay, gents.
You guys in the band, keep that music going. The rest of you people turn around and face the bar. Put your hands on top of the bar and leave them there till we tell you to move. Come on, hurry up. Knock it off. Okay, Sickle.
We'll take your money, your watches, anything else you got. Now, don't try to be cute and hold out. All right, you, take off the watch. I'll get your billfold. You, lady, let's have the ring.
This man they called Sickle went right down the line, took everything he could lay his hands on. This cop, your friend, was facing me at the far end of the bar. He was standing there just like the others. He kind of leaned toward me a little.
Can you see the guy with the shotgun?
Yeah,
Where is he?
center of the room.
The other guy still at the door?
Yeah,
Got his gun out?
holding it in his right hand.
How far down the line is the other guy?
About 10 people away.
Hey, you two down at the end there. Knock it off. Hurry up, Sickle.
Doing the best I can. Come on, let's have the purse, lady. You, next to the lady here, get the watch off. I'll take this wallet over.
How far away now?
He's getting closer. But we better set up like he says.
I'm going to take the one with the shotgun first.
He'll blow you to pieces.
I got a gun. How far away is that guy now?
I thought Jans told you two to shut up.
All right, Sickle, try to move and I'll break your back.
Let me go.
Go ahead and shoot, Jans.
Stay away from him, Sickle.
All you people at the bar, down on the floor. Okay, you with that shotgun, grab it.
Demas, can you get a shot at him?
Not without hitting Sickle. Come on, you, I'm waiting.
You got us all wrong, boy. We like Sickle, but not that much.
The cop was holding Sickle as a shield. When the big guy let go of the shotgun, both the cop and Sickle ducked. The cop didn't get hit. But this man Sickle fell over on his face, grabbed at his arm. The man with the shotgun went down on one knee, holding his stomach. The man at the door took a shot at the cop, but he missed. Then the cop fired 3 shots at the man by the door. Looked like the first 2 missed, but the last one caught the man in the leg and he went down. Well, by this time, the big guy with the shotgun had recovered enough to hold his weapon again. I tried to warn the cop.
Look out! The guy with the shotgun!
I see him.
The cop pointed his gun and pulled the trigger, but he was out of shells. Boy, Sergeant, my stomach knotted up when I heard that hammer fall against those empty chambers. The cop threw his gun at the guy with the shotgun and then ran right at him. You know, it was just as if that cop was trying to run right down the barrel of that shotgun. I glanced at the cop on the floor, then I tried to follow the 3 of them as they made their way out of the bar. They jumped into a car out front and drove off. As a kid, I used to watch Bill Hart take on a whole gang in the movies, but this way, right in front of my eyes, Sergeant, he was an awful brave guy.
Did you get the license number to their car?
No, I didn't. I couldn't see very well.
You got a pretty good look at all 3 of the men, though, didn't you?
I believe I'd recognize any of them.
Thanks, Eddie. What's your last name?
Bowers. Eddie Bowers.
Got that, Ben?
Yeah.
You'll be hearing from us, Eddie. We may want you to look at some pictures for us.
Glad to help any way I can, Sergeant. I hope you get the men that shot this cop. You're sure going to try, aren't you?
Yeah, Eddie. We're sure going to try. The next step was for Ben and I to make a complete report to Chief Ed Backstrand.
They got Lindsay, huh? That Fred Lindsay an auto theft?
Yeah, that's right.
Good cut. You say he wounded 2 out of the 3 in that holdup?
Yeah.
That means they'll have to have medical attention in a hurry. We'll check all the small hospitals, cover all the drugstores to get a line on anyone who's bought medical supplies in the last hour.
Uh-huh. As soon as medical detail notifies Miss Lindsay, I'd like to go over and see her.
Smith from the medical detail's out there now. By the time you get back, we may have a flash in the drugstores or hospitals.
We'll be back in 30 minutes.
Call them when you get out there.
Right, Ed.
You might carry this with you.
Yeah?
I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach about this thing. I want you to get those 2-bit punks. I don't want them to see another sunrise. Got that, haven't you?
Yeah, Ed.
Let's go, Ben.
Chandler?
Yes, sir.
Put out an APB. Have communications broadcast the descriptions of these suspects every 30 minutes until further notice. Get up to communications right away,
Hello, Joe. Come in.
Thanks, Ruth.
Sit down.
Ruth, you know how we all feel.
It's all right, Joe. You married to a cop, I guess you're meant to expect things like this.
He'll like that.
Fred and I used to discuss the possibility of this. I used to worry about him. I used to worry a lot, Joe. All those nights when he was away and the days, I used to worry. Now I know he's safe.
Anything you want or you need?
Thanks, no, Joe.
Anything at all that I can do?
Yes, Joe. I think there's something you can do. You and Ben are assigned to this case, aren't you?
That's right.
Then be careful. Just thinking that you and Ben will have to face those killers. Ben's wife. Be careful, Joe.
Yeah, Ruth, we will.
Oh, sure. I want to see you get the men that did this to Fred. More than anything, I want that. No more heartaches.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by, Joe.
How'd you take it, Joe?
Let's go.
Joe, how'd she take it?
You're married, Ben. You figure it. It was 11:30 when we got back to Central Division. As we walked into the squad room, Backstrand was waiting for us.
Righty, we just got our first lead. We've located a druggist who said he sold some medical supplies to a man about 45 minutes ago. There's the address. Pretty close to the scene of the shooting. Hop out and see him right away.
The Rex Pharmacy was exactly 14 blocks from the Red Feather Bar where the shooting took place. Rex Pharmacy was like your corner drugstore, complete with apothecary jars and shower curtains. The druggist was the same little man who's been prescribing sulfur and molasses since you were a kid in school.
I'm just about ready to close. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
We're from the police department.
I've been halfway expecting you fellows.
We got a report that you sold some medical supplies to a man about an hour ago.
Yes, sir, that's right. Yes, like I was telling those other officers that were here a while ago. There was something funny about that little fellow.
How you mean?
Well, for one thing, he came in here sweating quite a bit. Of course, it's a warm night, but he seemed terribly nervous.
Anybody with him?
No, he was all by himself.
What did he buy?
Well, it wasn't so much what he bought, but how much.
What do you mean?
You know how most people buy iodine, a little 10-cent bottle. He bought a couple of pints. Then there was all that gauze and adhesive tape. Bought enough to repair a small army. Cotton, box of swabs. Then he asked me something that made me wonder.
What was that?
Asked me if I had something to probe with. That's just the way he said it. Something to probe with. I asked him, what do you want to probe for?
What'd he say?
Said a splinter. I told him a sewing needle would do the trick. He said forget it, and then he paid me and walked out.
Uh-huh. Could you describe the man?
He was a small man, dark. Like I said, awful nervous.
You think you could identify him?
Oh, sure I could, if I ever saw him again.
Well, did he leave on foot, or was there a car outside?
Left in a cab, parked right out in front. Couldn't miss it.
Did you happen to take down the license number?
Well, no, I didn't. But I did jot down the taxicab number. Would that help?
Taking down cab numbers isn't exactly in a druggist's line, but because he had the presence of mind to do that one small thing, we accomplished in 10 minutes what could have well taken as many weeks. Maybe with this small wedge, we could do what Backstrand wanted us to do. Get the killers before another sunrise. Well, it was close to midnight when we stepped into the drugstore phone booth. I called the cab company, got the night supervisor. I gave him the number of the cab, and he checked his location chart. Cab 375 was operating out of a stand at Wilshire and Greenhaven. He was the right driver, and he remembered the fare.
Sure, I know who you mean. A little guy. Seemed in a big hurry. It was a long fare, though. I took him out to Inglewood. Wait till I check my log sheet. I'll give you the exact address. Here it is, Joe. 1523 Imperial. It's the room and half.
Yeah, come on. We'll check with the landlady.
Kind of late, Joe.
Yeah, let's stand away from the door, huh? Might not be the landlady who answers.
Yes, what do you want?
Police department.
Oh, just a minute. Let me see your badge.
There you are, ma'am. I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Romero. Homicide.
All right. Now, what do you want? I run a good, clean rooming house
It's
here.
not the house, lady. It's one of your tenants.
Which one?
That's what we want you to help us on.
Look, do you men know what time it is? Come back here in the morning.
Sorry, this can't wait till morning.
Well, I'm not going to invite you in. We'll talk right here on the porch and keep your voices down. My tenants work during the day.
Whatever you say, ma'am.
Now, what is it you want to know?
We're looking for a small, dark man.
Well, I got 3 here. Could fit that description.
No, he came in late tonight, about 45 minutes ago.
I wouldn't know about that. I don't spy on my people.
This is very important.
You'll have to keep your voices down.
Sorry. He's dark and he's small.
No, I didn't just say he was dark. You must mean Mr. Tyndall. What's he done?
What's his room number?
He's in room 10, but I can't allow you to tramp up and down the stairs. At this hour, you'll wake all my roomers.
We'll be as quiet as he wants us to be.
Now, what do you mean by that? Is there going to be trouble?
I don't know, lady.
Where do we find number 10?
The end of the hall, last room on the right, and keep your voices down.
If you'll just wait in your room, lady, we'll call you if we want you.
Okay, here we are. If I keep the door clear, Ben, we might have trouble.
Think they all in there?
We'll know in a minute.
Who is it? What do you want?
Police department. Hey. I'll try this closet, Joe.
What do you want with me? What are you looking for?
Closet's empty.
What'd you say your name was?
Tyndall, Bob Tyndall.
New name, but same face, huh, Joe?
Yeah, how long you been out of jail, Tenny?
My name ain't Tenny, it's Tyndall.
Your name's not Tyndall, it's Sam Tenney.
We sent you up on a robbery charge 4 years ago, now isn't that right, Tenny?
No, it's not right. You got the wrong man. I never been in jail.
Yes, you have, because we sent you there.
Now, come on. Who'd you buy the medical supplies for?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, Tenny, it's a hot night and it's late, so let's cut out the smart talk, huh?
Who'd you buy those medical supplies for?
Tenny, look, you're a 2-time loser right now. Who are you shielding?
You got nothing on me. I ain't done a thing.
We can prove that you bought those supplies tonight, and it can go kind of hard on you. So let's open up.
I haven't been out of this room all night long.
We got a druggist and a cab driver who will make a liar out of you.
I still don't know a thing.
That cab driver hauled you home here 45 minutes ago. Where were you?
I was out on a date.
Is that who you bought the medicine for? Ben, call the druggist and get that cab driver. We'll take Tenny downtown.
All right. All I did was buy the bandages and stuff. I got nothing else to do with this.
Who'd you buy the stuff for?
Now, you know everything else. You figure it.
Oh, now, look, punk. We know there were 3 of them. One of them killed a cop. We're going to get to them, and Tenny, you're not going to stand in our way.
They killed somebody. They didn't tell me that.
Who didn't tell you?
I don't want any part of murder. I'm going to tell you who it was, but I'm clean. I got nothing to do with it. I was trying to help them out of a jam.
Who were you trying to help?
It was Roy Bemis, Charlie Sickle, and Red Jans. They didn't tell me nothing about murder.
Oh, why'd you help?
They offered me a pretty good piece of change to run an errand for them. You know I got paid for. That's all I had to do with it.
Where did you deliver those medical supplies?
I have to tell you that. I'm afraid of Jans. He's awful free with that shotgun.
We'll give you protection. Now, where are they?
Can I go to jail till you get them?
You'll get protection. Give us the address.
It's an apartment house. Just around the corner from here. The Blue Eagle.
We took Sam Tenney down to Central Division with us. On the way downtown, he told us that Red Jantz and the other 2 had their room at the Blue Eagle barricaded. Tenney said that they told him that they'd kill the first cop who tried to take them. But we knew they were wounded. He told us that Sickle had an arm wound, Bemis got it in the leg, and Jantz had a slug in his side. We figured they'd be weak from the loss of blood, and we could take them easy.
You'll never take those guys easy. Sure, they lost a little blood, but they had enough fight left to stack that room. And they got enough left to kill you if you try to take them.
On the way to headquarters, we stopped at an all-night drive-in and called Ed Backstrand. We told him we had a radio car watching the Blue Eagle. We gave him the whole story and told him we were on our way in. By the time we checked into homicide, Ed had the plan all mapped out. It was 2:25 a.m.
Here's the map from the city engineers. It's one city block bounded on the north by Hawthorne Street, on the south Lawndale Avenue, on the east 16th Street, and to the west 17th.
The Blue Eagle apartment house is right here, on 16th and Hawthorne.
West of the Blue Eagle is a private residence. South of the Blue Eagle on 16th is a vacant lot. There are 12 apartments in the building. The men we want are on the second floor, number 11. And that apartment faces east on 16th.
How do you want to handle it, Ed?
Now, Baker and Moorheim will evacuate the private residence. Friday, and Nurmero clean out the apartment building.
Right, Skip.
All traffic is being diverted. The entire block is completely isolated. We'll throw up a cordon. As soon as we clear the residence, nobody goes in, nobody goes out.
Will you brief us again when we get there, Ed?
I'll give you all the briefing you need right now. Get this. These guys have already killed a cop. I don't want to lose any more. You know they're heavily armed and they're desperate. Have the men draw shotguns, tear gas, and Tommy guns.
I'll take care of that, Skipper.
All right. Now, we're not going in after these punks like tin horn heroes. We're going after them, and we're coming out alive. All of us. What time is it, Friday?
2:37.
Not much time till sunup, is it?
It was a code 2. That means red light and move fast. Backstrand figured we needed 6 squad cars, 4 men to a car, the police public address truck, ambulance, and floodlights. Ben checked out the weapons to the men, and by 2:46, we pulled out of the Central Division garage. We slid into the area at 3:20 a.m. The 6 squad cars and the public address truck took up their positions. The floodlights were rigged and ready to turn on at Backstrand's command. The machinery was set to roll as soon as we got the neighborhood cleared. Ben and I evacuated the Blue Eagle apartment house.
How many does that make, Joe?
Well, we've cleared 9. 2 to go. Here's apartment 10.
The killers are right next door. Joe, I'd like to kick that door in right now.
Take your time, Ben. We'll get to him. Quiet now.
Yeah, what is it?
Police department. May we come in?
Yeah, of course. What's the trouble?
No trouble. We're evacuating the building. Now, we'll have to ask you to leave by the back door. We'll notify you when to return. Please leave quietly and lock your door.
What's going on?
No time to explain. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Okay, now, we'll skip 11 and go to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah? Who are you? Police department. Can we come in? Sorry to disturb you at this hour. We're evacuating the building. Please hurry and leave quietly by the back door. You'll be notified when to return. Lock your door when you leave. Thank you.
It was 4:10 a.m. Everything was set now. The neighborhood was completely cleared. The entire block was empty except for apartment 11 on the second floor of the Blue Eagle. I left Ben to watch the door of apartment 11. I went downstairs and across the street to join the rest of the men. It was Ed Backstrand's show from here on. That's it, Ed. All set.
Baker, Morheim, all clear?
All clear, Chief.
Baker, you and Morheim take 3 men and cover the rear of the building.
Right.
Is that detail covered Hawthorne Street?
They're all set, Ed.
How about the vacant lot?
Taken care of.
The rest of you men? Yeah. Friday and I are going into the building. We'll try to get them to come out now. Johnson.
Yes, sir?
Come with us and keep us covered. Let's go.
Apartment 11's up at the head of the stairs, Ed.
Right. Any action, Romero?
Not a thing, Skipper.
Keep down, all of you. I'll try to get them out. Jance, Bemis, Sickle, you're all alone. The building's clear. Come on out with your hands behind your head. Come on out, Jance, or we'll come in and get you. You hear me?
I hear you, Ed.
Come on, let's get out to the street. Johnson, cover that door and be careful. Keep down.
Right, Chief.
Friday, Romero, come with me.
We left Sergeant Johnson to watch the door, and we ran out into 16th Street and ducked down behind the police sound truck. The floodlights hit the side of the building. Backstrand grabbed the microphone.
Jance, Bemis, Sickle, you've got 30 seconds to come down out of that room. Walk out backwards with your hands behind your head. Stay together. Don't fan out. 30 seconds, Jance.
They're making it tough, Ed.
Romero, lob some tear gas through that window.
Right, Skipper.
Come on out, Bemis. We're giving you a chance. That's more than you gave that cop in the bar. Come on out.
That's Jance, Ed. He isn't coming out.
They must have got Johnson because they're in another room.
Shoot the gas in there.
That's not going to get him out, Ed.
Give it time, Friday.
Burn those floodlights in up there. Friday, rake that second floor with the Tommy gun. Let's keep them in one room.
Right.
Hold your fire, Friday.
George, give us a couple of masks. Ben and I are going in.
The rest of you men concentrate your fire on those 2 rooms. Pin them down.
Here's your mess, Joe. Let's go.
Put that mask on, Ben, and keep down.
Yeah, wait a minute. Somebody coming down the inside stairs.
Duck, Ben. He's got a gun.
I got one, copper. Get out of my way.
Stop it, you. You haven't got a chance.
I'm coming through, copper.
Think I stopped him, Joe.
Can you see Johnson?
No, it's too much gas in there.
All right, you 2 up there. We got one of you. The other 2, come on out.
Joe, Think we got him?
I don't know. Can you see Johnson?
No, Joe. It's still too thick in there.
I'm going in, Ben. Cover me. Come on. We know there are two of you up there.
Just one, copper.
Throw your gun down the stairs ahead of you. Hurry up. Shotgun, Joe. Gents.
I see him. I'll take him at the foot of the stairs.
All right, I got my hands up.
I found Johnson, Ben. All right, Jance, outside. Come on. Move. Put the handcuffs on him, Ben. I'll cover you.
How's Johnson?
I don't know. Ed, get the ambulance crew over here.
Gents, who's this other guy we got?
Bemis.
How about Sickle?
I said just one, didn't I, copper?
Never mind the smart talk, Jance. Now just answer the question, huh?
Sickle wanted out of it a long time ago, so I let him out. He's upstairs. I let him out the back way.
Mean you shot him?
He wanted out, didn't he?
All right. We'll take him in. Johnson's in the ambulance. I'll see you in the office.
Yeah. Right, Skipper.
How about a smoke, huh?
Yeah. Here you go. Backstrand said he didn't want those men to see another sunrise.
Yeah.
5 minutes to 5, Joe. Sun ought to be up.
Yeah. But look, Ben. It's cloudy. Guess we'll never know, huh?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Edgar Red Jans, the sole survivor, was tried and convicted and sentenced to be put to death in the state penitentiary in the manner prescribed by law. You have just heard the fourth in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of C.B. Horrell, Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to radio car patrolman Forrest E. Sawyer of the Denver, Colorado Police Department, who on the evening of March 8, 1937, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide. Somewhere in the tangled web of your city, there's a killer on the loose. A young woman has been brutally murdered. The weapon, a steel bludgeon. Your job is to get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment. Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, March 19th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:14 p.m. when I got to the old Central Jail building, third floor. The crime lab.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, coming, Lee.
Just ran a spectrograph.
What'd you find?
The paint flake from the victim's head matches that paint on the hunk of pipe.
Any prints?
No, the pipe was clean, no latent prints.
Well, that figured. Anything else?
Got those blood test reports. Couple of slides for you to look at under the comparison mic.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Lee.
Oh, hi, Joe. Didn't hear you come in.
What's it look like, Ben?
Well, here's the blood test reports. This one is blood found on the piece of pipe.
Type A.
This one's blood from the victim.
Type A.
They match.
That's right, boys. Doesn't mean too much, though. Did you look at these slides under the microscope?
No, not yet.
Well, this is your clincher. Wait till I get the light. Okay, take a look.
Mm-hmm.
Got a make?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, this slide here on the right, that's a slice of hair from the victim's head. On the other slide is hair found on the steel pipe.
Yeah?
She had wavy hair. Both specimens are flat. Same hair, Joe.
You got anything on that piece of pipe, Lee?
Nothing. Just ordinary steel pipe, 14 inches long.
What else you got?
The plaster impressions of those footprints we found by the body. Here they are.
Crepe soles?
Tennis shoes, new ones, size 9, good impression. Ground was soft. Man about 150 pounds, according to the length of stride, roughly about 5 feet 10 inches tall.
Yeah, new shoes, all right. You can still read the manufacturer's label.
That's right, made by the Sport King Company.
Well, that's something to follow up.
Yeah, sure, you could start with the tennis courts. Only about 1,000 or so in L.A. Maybe you'd rather track down the brand. These particular tennis shoes are the biggest sellers in the country.
Yeah.
Where'd you like to start, Minneapolis or Pullman, Washington?
What about that glove?
Yeah, you might look for a missing glove.
Yeah.
They go well with the shoes, just about as common. White cotton work gloves with a blue top. Here's the right glove. You find the left one.
Blood on a glove?
Type A.
Well, that's good evidence, Jones, but where's the lead?
Now, look, I don't ask you to pay my parking tickets. You want to see blow-ups?
Okay.
Right over here.
Oh, yeah. This is the vacant lot where they found the body.
Yeah, that's right. Here's a close-up of her showing the location of the murder weapon, the glove, and the footprints relative to the position of the body.
Looks as bad as yesterday. Sure did work her over, didn't he?
The rest of these are morgue shots. Interested?
No, I checked them this morning. Once is enough, Lee.
Yeah, that winds it, boys. You want to go over the stuff in her purse again?
You find anything more?
No, nothing you haven't seen already. The usual. Makeup, comb, barrette. That's a hair clip. A few cheap stones in it. Loose change, a quarter, nickel, few pennies. Her ID card.
Yeah. Helen Corday. 33 Naomi Place. Age 21. 21. That's not very old, is it, Lee?
Not to die. No.
Helen Corday. Who could kill Helen Corday? Why?
Why do you say that, Mr. Meyer?
Well, people kill for money. They kill for love. Helen Corday had none of these.
No boyfriend?
Not in here. No, she was a good worker. 5 different waitresses the union sends me 1 month. 5!
Did the union send Helen to you?
Oh, sure. All the girls come from the union, but none like Helen. Oh, she was sweet, honest, and courteous.
Mr. Meyer, did you know anything about her personal life?
Only that she was a good worker. Everything else she took home with her from this place.
Did she ever mention any men to you? Anyone at all?
No gentleman, not one. No.
How much money did she make here?
I paid her $26.50 a week, every Tuesday. And not much salary for so much work, but the tips are very good here. Nice customers.
Mm-hmm. This her home address, 33 Naomi Place?
33 Naomi, that's right, yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Meyer, for your time.
I wonder what kind of a person does things like that. Who could kill Helen Corday? Everybody liked Helen.
Helen Corday? I never liked her. Come on in the office, boys, where we can talk. Never liked her because I never knew her.
You the head of the union?
Not just a steward. I know most of the girls. This Corday girl, what she look like?
Small brunette, about 5'3". Here's a picture.
Yeah. Pretty girl, wasn't she? Oh, sure. Placed her out at Otto's place. Nice little Dutch fella. Otto Meyer.
That's right. He seemed to think quite a lot of her.
Yeah, she was a fine worker. Oh, sure. Always right up on her dues. Paid all the assessments right on time.
Thought you said you didn't know her.
Well, not right off, I didn't, but when you showed me that picture there, placed her right away.
You know anything about her personal life?
Yeah, wait a minute. Why all these questions?
Helen Corday was murdered last night.
Oh. Who did it?
You know anything about her personal life?
Well, you can see my position, Sergeant. 1,200 girls. Check them in, check them out. Just names to me till I see a picture of them.
You wouldn't know if she had any boyfriends here in the Union. Waiters, busboy?
That I wouldn't know. Like I tell you, Sergeant, I never knew Helen Corday.
Sure, I knew Helen Corday. Gus plays a nice piano, huh, Sergeant?
Yeah.
I read about it in the paper this morning.
How long you been selling pianos here at this place?
About as long as I knew Helen. 3 years. How'd you find me?
Helen's landlady, we talked to her yesterday. She told us you worked here at this piano store.
Oh. It's funny, isn't it?
What's funny?
See Gus over there? That fellow demonstrating the piano? A few weeks ago, I made a deal with him to give Helen piano lessons. I figured it would help her with her singing lessons. Wanted to be a singer, you know.
Did Helen know that fellow, Gus?
No, she never met him.
Who gave her the singing lessons, Miss Olson?
She took from Ostrander. Paul Ostrander out on Melrose. A lot of movie people used to take from him.
What do you know about her personal life?
How do you mean?
Does she have any boyfriends?
Well, yes.
You don't seem sure, Miss Olson.
Well, it's just that I don't know. I never asked Helen, but she did have a few dates with Paul Ostrander. I don't think she was serious.
How about Ostrander?
Gee, I don't know, Sergeant. I don't want to involve anybody.
You want to help us find the killer, don't you?
Well, yes, but if you're thinking Paul Ostrander did it, no, I'm sure he didn't kill her.
That's all for today, Victoria. No, gentlemen, I did not kill Helen Corday.
You gave her singing lessons, Mr. Ostrander. You knew her pretty well?
Yes, I gave her voice coaching for about 1.5 years. Helen showed a little promise. Not a great voice, a bad vibrato.
You knew her pretty well?
Why do you say that?
Mr. Ostrander, didn't you used to take her out once in a while?
No, I didn't know Helen socially at all.
We know you had dates with her.
That's not true. Only times I saw her was when she came here to the studio for lessons.
You better tell the truth, Mr. Ostrander. We can prove that you've been out with her.
Afraid of the publicity, is that it?
Certainly that's it. I have a successful business here. I've spent years building it. Anything like this would ruin me.
Then you have been out with her.
Only a few times. Nothing serious. I had nothing to do with her murder. Now, that's the truth.
Don't you know that withholding information about a thing like this can go kind of hard for you?
Yes, I know that. What else could I do?
Mr. Ostrander, somewhere in this city right now, there's a guy who beat a young girl to death. He crushed her skull with a piece of steel pipe. We need every bit of information we can get to track him down.
I know that, sir.
You could have come to us. We wouldn't run to the newspapers with it. If the information's confidential, that's the way we treat it. Most of the time, it's the people who run to the newspapers first. Then they come to us. That's right, Mr. Ostrander. People are their own press agents.
Sergeant, I'd like to know what right you have to invade my privacy and lecture me on my civic duty.
All right, I'll tell you what right, Ostrander. We want the man who murdered Helen Corday. I got as much right as he had at 12:14 this morning.
Come on, Joe.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Ostrander. Sorry if I invaded your privacy.
Chief of Detectives Office, Helen. No, I'm sorry, ma'am. You got the wrong extension. Try 2511. You're welcome. Hi, Friday, Romero. Chief's been looking for you.
Thank you, Mike. Come on, Joe.
Yeah.
Hello, Joe. Ben. Sit down. What'd you get?
A notebook full of notes. A crime lab full of evidence. Nothing to tie them together.
These some of the people you interviewed?
Yeah, those and about a dozen more we didn't even take notes on.
It's hard to figure, Skipper. Everybody seemed to like this girl.
Helen Corday. No known relatives.
Single, unattached girl, living all alone in the city.
Few friends and no enemies. None we can find anyway.
Are you satisfied that all the people you interviewed are in the clear?
Well, if we're going to stick to the simple robbery motive we are, the kind of money Helen Corday made wouldn't interest those people.
How are you doing on the outside leads?
Nothing.
If we could just find one hole someplace, anything.
All right, now look. You've got a lab full of evidence across the street. You've got a book full of names here. You've got the pieces. Now fit them together.
They just don't add.
Well, go over them and keep going over them until they do add. Anything from the informants?
No, nothing so far. No tips on anybody that's been dough-heavy lately. Nobody shooting off their mouth.
The guy we want won't advertise. Figures himself a pretty smooth operator. But he probably made a mistake somewhere along the line. We'll find it.
Got a hot shot, Ed.
Yeah?
3220 Casino. Woman. Probable attack.
All right, Friday. You and Ben run it down.
We ran down the hotshot call for 3220 Casino. Turned out to be a typical dead-end lead. Her name was Mrs. Lillian Horn. For the past 5 years, Mr. Horn had been paid regularly on Wednesdays. He spent all day Thursday drinking up his paycheck and beating his wife. The call had no connection with the Corday murder. We made the usual call into communications. Unit 80K to Control 1, 80K to Control 1.
Control 1 to 80K, go ahead.
On that probable attack, 3220 Casino, code 4.
80K, roger.
80K to Control 1, KMA 367. That was the beginning. For the next 3 days, we followed up every lead and every call, but they were all blind. All units were alerted, and they had as much information on the killer of Helen Corday as we did. Ben and I cruised throughout the entire Central Division. We covered every probable call that might have some connection with the murder.
Attention, Unit 41R. 1654 Swanson Terrace, a woman, victim of probable attack, code 3. Unit 41R.
It didn't make any difference what the call was. If there was a possibility it might tie in with the Corday murder, we ran it down. We needed a 24-hour job. So far, if the killer made a mistake, we hadn't been able to find it. The Corday funeral was on Monday. They were all there. The girl's landlady, the voice teacher Ostrander, the girlfriend Marie Olson, the man from the union, and her boss Otto Meyer. But nobody else we hadn't checked. That was Monday afternoon. Monday night, we went back to the old routine, tracking calls during the night in the squad car, picking up small threads that led nowhere. 3 more days of the same thing. Thursday morning, 1 week after we found Helen Corday's body, we got an anonymous phone tip.
I know who killed Helen Corday. His name's George Barlow. He lives at 418 White Oak Avenue. He used to date her up all the time. Get him and you've got the murderer.
We checked George Barlow and about 10 others just like him. None of them knew Helen Corday. Saturday night, Ben and I were back in the squad car cruising the Central Division. Saturday night's a good night for robbery. By 10 p.m., we'd run down 4 various calls.
123, code 1. 123, roger. 12G, call your station. Unit 13R, 1254 Tower Road. A woman screaming. Investigate the trouble. Code 2.
Let's handle that one, Ben.
Yeah, okay.
I'll notify communications. Unit 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
Control 1 to Unit 80K. Go ahead.
On your 1254 Tower Road call, we're in the vicinity. We will handle.
80K, roger.
80K to Control 1, KMA 367. Let's go, Ben.
Control 1 to 13R. Disregard your last call. Handled by 80K.
It should be right about here. Oh, here it is. 1254.
That man is trying to kill me. He's running down the street.
Where?
He's getting to that corner street. He tried to kill me.
Come on.
Where'd he go, Joe?
Turn right at the next corner.
That's him up ahead.
He's got a good lead on us. Hit the siren.
He's gaining, Joe.
Took a left at the next corner. Oh, he isn't going to stop. Close in as tight as you can, Ben.
Down to the floor now.
Swing out to the left a little. I'm going for his tires.
Right.
All right, that'll slow him down. Pull up on him.
Yeah.
All right, you. Keep both hands on that wheel and get over to the curb.
Cover me, Joe.
Right.
Out of that car, mister.
Shake him down.
Hey, take it easy, will you? I haven't got a gun.
Put the cuffs on him.
Hey. Well, you boys work fast. What am I do with the gas chamber?
Just save that, mister.
It's pretty rough treatment for speeding.
All right, come on, you.
Look, I got a right to know where you're taking me. What's the charge?
We'll let the girl tell you.
What girl?
You just sit there and be quiet, huh?
Oh, I know where you're going. The place back on Tar Road. Well, I asked to use the phone. The girl slammed the door in my face. I don't know what you cops are trying to prove. I just wanted to use the phone, that's all. I even tried to scare her a little. I told her I'd hit her over the head if she didn't let me use the phone. It's a laugh, huh?
All right, you get out.
Yeah, I suppose so. Get out. Hey. I got nothing to hide. That little girl's gonna lie, you know that, don't you?
Who's there?
Police officers.
It's the man. That's him. He tried to kill me.
His full name's Frank Philip Larson, Ed. No previous record.
This the girl's report?
Yeah, that's it, Skipper.
Judy Scott. How old is she?
He's 19. He's a babysitter.
Real tough boy, isn't he? Forced his way into the house, beat her about the neck and arms. A tire iron.
We found it in his car. Jones is running it through the crime lab.
Asked her if she had any money. She told him no. Struck her again. Where's this Larson live?
Hotel out near Santa Monica.
He's a clothing salesman, Ed. Works for a big men's store, Burns & Company. According to the house book sales record, he bought a pair of tennis shoes 2 weeks ago.
Weighs 158 pounds, 5 foot 11 inches.
Tennis shoes are missing. They're not in his hotel room, and he's not wearing them.
What else did you find?
A rhinestone.
You mean a pin?
No, just a small loose stone recovered from the rug in Larson's room.
Crime lab got it?
Working on it now.
Ed, I think... We got the man who killed Helen Corday. A few scraps of circumstantial evidence and a hunch. That's not much to go on. Larson had gone after the little Scott girl with a tire iron. Wasn't much of a tie-in, but we had to be sure. All that day, we checked Frank Larson's alibi for the night of Helen Corday's murder. We interviewed the personnel manager at Burns & Company where he worked. We talked to all the clerks who knew him. The manager of the hotel where he lived. We found out everything we could about Frank Larson. And that night at 10 o'clock, we had the prisoner brought to the interrogation room.
How are you, Larson?
Fine. Just fine. I like jail.
Sit down. Lousy weather, been foggy all over town.
I wouldn't know. I've been inside all day.
How old are you, Larson?
31, same as the last time you asked me.
Where'd you go to school?
I didn't. I was born smart.
You sell clothes, don't you, Larson?
We know you work for Burns & Company. Remember, you told us.
What is all this? What are you guys trying to build?
Just want to know if you like selling clothes. That's all.
What do you coppers know about clothes? One blue serge a year is your speed.
You know quite a bit about clothes, don't you?
I've been selling them for 5 years.
Can you tell me something I've been wondering about?
What's that?
Are your socks and tie always supposed to match?
That's what the style books say.
Bet you always know the right things to wear, don't you? You wouldn't wear black shoes with a brown suit, would you?
Is that what you're keeping me here for? Style, isn't it?
No, would you? Would you wear black shoes with a brown suit?
Most people wouldn't.
Bet you wouldn't wear brown shoes with a tuxedo either.
I've been smoking too much. You got a glass of water?
Oh, yeah, sure. There you are, Larson.
Thanks. That's good and cold.
How about it? Would you ever wear brown shoes with a tux?
Nobody would.
That's a navy blue flannel you got on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good-looking suit.
Stop around sometime. Get you a good deal.
Suit like that flannel there you're wearing, you'd never wear tennis shoes with an outfit like that, would you?
What do you think?
I think you did. I think you wore them the night you killed Helen Corday.
Who?
Maybe you didn't have the blue suit on, but you were wearing tennis shoes, Sport King, size 9. Sell for $5.95. You picked them up at a discount. Cost you $3 1/4.
Where'd you get that?
Out of the house book, Burns & Company. You wouldn't have those shoes around now, would you? We couldn't find them in your hotel room.
Your boss, Mr. Craig, used to think a lot of you, Larson. Before you started drinking on the job, your commissions used to run pretty high up the last couple of months. What happened? That cheap rye get to you?
Well, you two really nosed around, didn't you? When are you going to tell me what I eat for breakfast?
Cornflakes, cup of coffee, donut, sometimes 2 donuts when you're hungry. Elsie waits on you at the Royal Cafe. She gets a dime tip.
Can I have some more of that water?
Help yourself, there's a cooler.
Sure good and cold.
How about it, Larson? Where are the tennis shoes?
They wore out.
In 3 weeks? Can't be very good tennis shoes.
No, they didn't wear out. What'd you do with them?
You know all the answers. You figure it out.
We know you bought the tennis shoes. We don't know where they are now. We know you had them, size 9.
3 feet from the body of Helen Corday, we found 2 size 9 footprints made by a pair of Sport King tennis shoes.
We figured the man weighed about 150 pounds.
You weigh 158.
Figured he's about 5'10".
You're 5'11".
You come awful close to being the same build as the man who killed Helen Corday, don't you, Larson?
And you wear the same size tennis shoes, same brand name.
A lot of people wear 9s. It's the average size. They sell a lot of Sport Kings, too. Everybody wears them.
If we could find your pair, might make a difference.
Doesn't mean your tennis shoes made the prints with the body. Doesn't prove it didn't, neither.
What'd you do with them, Larson?
I threw them away.
That's too bad. Might make a difference.
No, what difference could it make? I threw them away, that's all.
Now, how about the mate to this glove?
I never saw it before.
Found this right-hand glove by the body of Helen Corday.
Just an ordinary cotton work glove. Everybody wears them.
If we could find the missing left glove, why, it might make a difference.
Size medium. That's average, too, isn't it, Larson?
I never saw work gloves. I wouldn't know.
No, but you bought work gloves, haven't you?
Not a pair of those.
Mean like this, don't you? We only got one.
What kind of work gloves did you buy?
I didn't buy any.
You just said you did.
I never said I bought any work gloves.
You bought tennis shoes, though, didn't you?
I told you I bought the tennis shoes. Didn't I tell you I bought them?
No, you didn't tell us. We told you. Found out from Burns & Company where you worked.
All right, you told me. I bought them. You know that.
Same kind of tennis shoes that made footprints by Helen Corday's body.
It wasn't me.
Then why won't you tell us what you did with these
I've
shoes?
already told you I threw them away.
They were only 3 weeks old.
Must have worn out awful fast.
I didn't say they wore out. They got too dirty.
No, you told us they wore out. Remember, Larson?
I don't remember what I told you, but I don't have them now.
We know you don't have them now. Where are they?
He told us. They got too dirty. Right, Larson?
Yes. Yes, that's what I said.
Anyhow, you haven't got them now.
No, I haven't got them now.
All right, now, just for the record, Larson, which was it? Did they get too dirty or did they wear out?
Whatever I said before.
You said both before, Larson.
All right, I said both. You haven't got anything on me.
We got that little Scott girl statement from last night. She says you tried to kill her.
She's lying. I told you she'd lie, didn't I? I only wanted to use the phone.
She says you hit her with a tire iron. Did you hit her with that iron?
No, I only tried to scare her. I didn't hit her with anything.
Then how'd you get those marks around her neck and arm?
Police doctor says they were made by that tire iron.
I don't care what your doctor says. I didn't hurt her.
Now, what do you mean, Larson? You didn't hurt her or you didn't hit her with that tire
Neither
iron?
one. I just wanted to use her phone.
How'd you know she had a phone?
I didn't know if she had a phone. I just went up to find out.
To find out what?
To find out if I could use her phone.
Thought you said you didn't know if she had a phone.
I don't know anything the way you twist everything around.
Sorry, Larson. We only want the truth. How about a cigarette?
Yeah, I could use one.
Here's the light.
Larson, where were you Wednesday night, March 18th?
How many times you going to ask me that same question?
Just want to make sure we got it right.
I told you this morning. I went to a show. I got out about 11, had a beer, and I went home.
What time did you get home?
About 11:30.
Did you stay home?
I went to bed.
What'd you see at the show?
I never remember the names.
You ought to try to remember this, and it's pretty important.
Oh, it was a deluxe theater. It was Spencer Tracy and something.
What was on when you walked in?
The news. I never go in the middle of a picture.
Neither do I. Spoils them for me.
Yeah, that's right.
The girl in the box office doesn't remember seeing you go in.
She know. It was Keno night. There was a big crowd.
Did you win anything?
I never do.
Anybody hit the jackpot?
I don't remember.
They give away a lot of money at those neighborhood theaters. I always remember who hits the jackpot.
Well, all right, you do. I don't.
Do you remember if anybody won the jackpot?
I told you, no.
Did they have a jackpot at that show?
I guess they do. I don't know.
You knew it was Keno night. You should know if they had a jackpot.
Maybe they had a jackpot. I don't know. I went out for a smoke.
You said the cartoon was on when you walked in.
Why do you always twist what I say? I told you the news was on when I went in.
You remember anything about the newsreel?
It was 10 days ago. How do I know it was in it? I only know it was a newsreel, that's all.
You're lying, Larson. We checked your alibi. The manager of the theater had to cut the newsreel Wednesday night because the show was running long with Keno night.
You didn't go to the show Wednesday night, did you?
All right, maybe I didn't. I don't remember. What's the difference?
The difference is you could have been in that vacant lot the same night, the night Helen Corday was murdered.
I didn't kill her. You can't prove I did.
Interrogation room, Friday. Hiya, Jones. It did, huh? You're positive. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Lee.
Sure you don't want to tell us what you did with those tennis shoes?
I'm not going to go back over all that. I've told you guys all I'm going to tell you.
You know how the Corday girl was murdered?
How would I know? I don't know anything about it.
She was on her way home from work, as usual, about midnight. Of course, you were home in bed about that time.
But you didn't go to the show that night, Larson.
On her way home, Helen Corday always took a shortcut across a vacant lot. She was about halfway through the lot when the murderer tried to grab her purse. She screamed and he struck her. Hit her several times with a piece of steel pipe 14 inches long. He beat her to death with that piece of steel pipe.
Then he dropped the pipe in the right-hand cotton work glove. He left 2 footprints, size 9, Sport King tennis shoes.
I know all that.
Well, here's something you don't know. When the killer scooped the paper money out of that girl's purse, he accidentally took along a loose rhinestone. A stone that fell out of a cheap barrette in the bottom of her bag. He carried that stone home with him. When he reached in his pocket to pull out the money he stole from her, the rhinestone fell on the floor.
So?
We found that rhinestone on the rug in your hotel room.
Well, I haven't lived in that hotel room all my life. Maybe the tenant before me dropped it there.
No, not this one. We checked the cement that held it in that barrette. It matches the glue on the stone. No, Larson, that rhinestone came from the hair clip that Helen Corday wore before she was murdered.
And that's enough to take you to the district attorney with.
What am I supposed to say?
We want you to tell us the truth. Why did you kill Helen Corday? Yeah.
You want the sandwiches and coffee now, Sergeant?
Bring them in, Mike. Looks like we're going to be here a long time.
Yeah, I brought you ham, cheese, and liverwurst, and some fruit. Coffee's black, cream and sugar on the side.
Thank you, Mike. Ah, it looks good. What kind you want, Larson? Ham, cheese, or liverwurst? Oh, you're not hungry? Okay. Sandwich, Joe?
No, thanks. I think I'll have an apple, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I fixed you a plate there, Larson. Coffee's right here.
It's a fine apple. Nice and fresh. This a Washington apple?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that coffee hot enough?
No, it's fine. Where'd Mike pick these up?
Well, across the street.
Eddie's?
No, Oh, take good.
Well, drink your coffee anyway, Larson. It's getting cold.
All right! I didn't want to kill her. She screamed and I hit her. All I wanted was her purse. That's all I wanted. She wouldn't give to me. She had to fight back, so I hit her. I didn't want to kill her. All she had to do was give me the purse and I wouldn't have hurt her. I was drinking and I didn't know what I was doing. I was drunk. I didn't mean to kill her. I didn't mean to kill her.
Mike.
Yeah, Joe?
Stay with him. We'll call the stenographer.
See you tomorrow, Joe. Good night.
Yeah. Sour racket, huh?
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Frank Philip Larson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard the fifth in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet is furnished by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Police Officer Charles A. Brady of the Chicago, Illinois Police Department, who on the night of September 2nd, 1945, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Our next broadcast is heralded as the only national program that brings you authentic police case history. It premiered as G-Men, sponsored by Chevrolet on July 20th of 1935. And then in January 15th of 1936, the show changed its name and had a 21-year run through November 20th of 1957. Beginning with a barrage of loud sound effects, guns firing, and tires squealing, this intrusive introduction led to the popular catchphrase, "Came on like gangbusters," next on HOJO Radio.
Your faithful friend with muscles ache and pain presents Gangbusters. Gangbusters, brought to you, the men and women of America, by the makers of Sloan's Liniment. With the cooperation of leading law enforcement officials of the United States, Gangbusters presents facts in the relentless war of the police on the underworld. Authentic case histories that show the never-ending activity of the police in their work of protecting our citizens. America's crusade against crime.
Now, for those of you who are familiar with the name Schwarzkopf, just an editorial note, and we'll get right back to the program. Colonel Schwarzkopf, who oftentimes interviews the lawman who brings in the story to Gangbusters, is, of course, in actuality, the father of H. Norman Schwarzkopf, General of the United States Army. And so this is kind of interesting to hear him portrayed, his father portrayed as a law enforcer. And also interesting, there's the character of the lawman, a sheriff, a judge who comes on the program, Judge Miller, is played by none other than Bill Johnstone, who about the same time was playing The Shadow on the Mutual Network. So there's a couple of interesting voices to listen for here.
Now for our Pluxy interview between Colonel Schwarzkopf and Judge L.D. Miller of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Picture our setting as a special office turned over to gangbusters by Commissioner Louis J. Valentine of the New York City Police. Colonel Schwarzkopf.
Judge Miller, I understand that Charleston and Rogers, the nickel and dime bandits, were hunted by the police of 6 states.
Yes, Colonel Schwarzkopf. Actually, 8 different police departments were after them within a period of 30 days.
But why do you call these particular criminals the nickel and dime bandits?
Well, Colonel, James Carlson, the brains of the combination, had a theory of crime different from any criminal in all my experience.
I got a new slant on stick-ups that'll pay big dividends. I'm going to get me a smart partner that knows how to use a gat. Then we're going to go through the Mississippi Valley pulling little jobs, nickel and dime jobs. When we pulled enough of these nickel and dime jobs, we'll have just as much jack as if we'd stuck up a dozen big banks.
On December 4th, 1939, following a term at Minnesota State Reformatory, Charleston drove up to a roadside tavern near Minneapolis. The owner was talking to a customer.
Be right with you, mister. Anything else, sir?
Oh, that'll be all, Bill. Charge it, will you?
With a fancy car like that, you want me to charge it, huh?
No fancy. Right behind you, pal. Turn around.
What?
Look out, Bill. He's got a gun.
A special kind of gun, mister, with a hair trigger. Come on, both of you. Back up into that hot dog joint before I turn this cannon loose on you. I want your dough.
Oh, I got some change.
Give it to me.
Here you are.
Now, you. Open up that cash register.
Here. $35. It's all I got.
I know it ain't. Scoop out that change and stick it in my pocket.
Nickels and dimes, huh? I'd like to see you for 5 minutes without that gun. Here's a change.
Thanks, white guy.
Now get out of here.
Not so fast, you. Empty your pockets.
Pretty brave, aren't you, with a gun?
Yeah, and it's liable to go off any minute.
No sawed-off punk's gonna take my dough.
I warned you, white guy.
Bill! You're not getting away from me.
I'll show you.
Give me that gun. You're all through, son.
Let go of me.
You hurt?
Let go of me.
Yeah, I guess so. Pretty bad. I dropped all 3 of those bullets, but I got his gun.
You're gonna need a doctor. What do we do with this guy?
Lock him in the washroom.
You make it all right?
Yeah, sure. I got the special gun, you rat.
Yeah.
Give me back my money.
All right. Here you are.
Now, come on, you into the washroom.
You'll never get me to jail.
Inside, punk.
Okay, white guy.
I'll lock it and then phone the police.
Better get an ambulance, Bill. You're bleeding bad.
Hello, operator. Get me the police.
Sit down, Bill.
What's that? The washroom window.
There. Up front. There he goes.
He's in his car. Stop! Stop or I'll shoot! Oh, it's jammed. That guy's special pistol jammed and saved his own life.
It is rare, Judge Miller, for the victim to turn on his assailant at gunpoint and disarm him.
It is, Colonel. Fortunately, the wounds of the tavern owner were not serious. Johnson made a dash for Chicago, where he went into partnership with another criminal named Joe Rogers. Together, they stole a late-model car and started south, blazing a trail of robberies from Illinois to Louisiana. On the night of December 17th in Blytheville, Arkansas, Charleston and Rogers committed an unusual robbery, showing a peculiar obsession.
Blytheville, Arkansas, robbery. 2 men broke into a house and stole a large collection of pistols, automatics, shotguns, and rifles. Seen escaping in blue or black Dodge sedan. Notify all gun dealers to be on lookout for unusual weapons of foreign make.
A few days later, Colonel, Charleston and Rogers were in Minneapolis, waiting in a stolen new Buick sedan across the street from a small apartment house.
Boy, this is the life, Will Rogers. You said it, Charleston. Cops and newspapers screaming about us from here to New Orleans.
Nothing for us to do but sit back and take it easy.
I'd sure like a drink right now.
Yeah, so would I. Wish that baby of yours would hurry up.
It's only 10 past 11. I told her to sneak out at 11:15.
She made up her mind to come with us?
Hope so. You know me, Rogers. Wine, woman, and song.
Yeah, I know. But when are we going to quit this small-time stuff and go after something big?
Like what?
Banks.
Forget it, Rogers. Knock over a bank and every cop in the state's after you.
Just think of the dough we could pick up in banks. All we've been getting the places you pick is chicken feed. Nothing but nickels and dimes.
There's nothing you can't buy with nickels and dimes, Rogers. If you got enough of them.
Sure, but we could...
There's no buts to it. It adds up, see? And the rap for little jobs is nothing like it is for a bank.
But in one bank job...
Listen, sap.
Hey, take it easy, will you?
Banks have guards, and the guards have guns and tear gas. They have balconies to ambush bank bandits. They have burglar alarms to call the cops. Don't you see, we can get as much in a flock of gas stations as we could in a dozen banks. And no risk.
Maybe you're right.
The way I figure it...
Hold it, Charleston. Here comes your girlfriend.
Oh. Hello, baby.
Hello, Jim. Gee, I'm glad to see you.
You and me both. Get in the car.
Okay.
It's my pal, Joe Rogers.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
How are you?
Oh, what's up? Where are we going?
We're going south, kid. How'd you like to go with us?
South? Oh, gee, I'd love to, but what about my folks?
Send them a postcard.
Yeah.
Just say, having a wonderful time. I wish you were here.
Hey, what are you guys going to do?
We got special ideas. Swell clothes, good liquor, and plenty to keep us busy. What do you say?
I say, what are we waiting for?
Baby, you're going to be perfect. Let's go, Rogers.
Where to?
Back to New Orleans, where it's nice and warm. But we're going to make some stops on the way. And where we stop, nobody's ever going to forget us. This will be a joyride to remember.
That was near midnight, Colonel, on December 21st, 1939. 3 days later, Chief C.R. Bryan of the Chattanooga, Tennessee Police was sitting in his office when Police Captain Homer Edmondson walked in with a message in his hand.
Good morning, Captain. Good morning, Chief Bryan. This just came in on the teletype. Thought you'd like to look at it.
Some sweet one, huh?
Yes, sir.
Arrest 2 men wanted here for robbery of roadside cafe this morning, 3 a.m. One man about 20, weight 150, blue eyes, light hair. Another one, older, weight about 140, dark hair, slender. Both bandits wearing leather jackets.
That's a pretty complete description, Chief.
These bandits took $60 in currency, cigarettes, liquor, and a large amount of nickels and dimes. They're heavily armed. Large amount of nickels and dimes. That sounds familiar.
You're right, Captain. This is the 6th report in the last few days that used those exact words.
Yes, and each report was near Chattanooga. Have you broadcast this message to the patrol cars?
Yes, sir. Right after it came in.
Send it out again, Captain. This is the first good description we've had of those men. If they try anything here, I want every man on the force to be waiting for them.
Right, Chief.
Wait a second. Chief Bryan speaking.
Send some cops over quick, Chief. I've just been robbed.
Who's this?
Jack Parker. I got a filling station at Main and Watkins. I just opened up 10 minutes ago and 2 guys walked in and...
Hold on a minute. Captain, there's been a holdup over at Main and Watkins, a filling station. Send a patrol car over there right away.
Right away, Chief.
Go ahead, Mr. Parker. What happened?
These 2 guys walked in, Chief. They both wore leather jackets. They had 4 guns between them and they cleaned out the cash register.
How much did they get?
$7. Almost all small change.
Nickels and dimes, huh?
Well, I know it don't sound like much, Chief, but it's a lot to me.
Mr. Parker, I don't care if it was 7 cents or $7 million. If these bandits are the men I think they are, they're going to try to pull some more jobs like this here in Chattanooga, and we're going to get them.
The next afternoon, Colonel, the woman manager of a small dry goods store in Chattanooga saw 2 men, apparently customers, walking into her store.
May I help you, gentlemen?
Yeah, let me see some shirts. The best you got.
And I want to see some socks and ties.
Certainly, right over here. What size shirt, sir?
15 collar, 34 sleeve.
And I want size 11 socks.
Here they are. Just take your pick.
That's just what we're going to do, sister. Stick 'em up.
Hold up.
Take it easy, sister. One peep out of you and I'll drill you.
Please.
Get down on the floor behind our counter. And don't move if you want to live.
Yes,
Pretty fancy-looking socks, pal.
Get some for me.
What kind of shirts you getting?
Silk, the most expensive I can find.
I'm gonna make it fast.
Okay. These here look swell. Green silk. You ready, pal?
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, sister, where's your cash register?
There, in back of the counter. But there's only a...
I know. There's only a little change. That's what they all say.
How much, pal?
$10 and about 5 and change.
Thanks for the service, lady. We'll be sure to tell our friends about you.
And remember, sister, if you move off that floor before we're out of this store, it'll be the last time you ever move.
Exactly 44 minutes later, Colonel, in a Chattanooga liquor store on the other side of town.
Will that be all, gentlemen? Just the 3 bottles of whiskey?
No, that ain't all, mister. Reach for the ceiling.
What do you want?
Don't shoot him, pal. The cops might hear you get.
All right, keep them covered.
And what are you going to do?
I'm going to teach you not to be so nosy. That'll teach you to ask me what I want.
Now, please don't kick me again.
Come on, pal. Let's get out of here.
Get the dough.
Okay.
Take everything, even the small change. How much is it?
Yeah, there's about $90 here. Hey, here's something else, pal. A nice new gap for your collection.
Say, not so bad. Different from any I got. Maybe I ought to try it out on this wise guy.
No, please.
Okay, mister, but just so you won't run after us, here's something more to remember us. But...
That brutal holdup was the third the nickel and dime bandits committed in the heart of Chattanooga within 24 hours, Colonel. It redoubled the efforts of the police to catch Charleston and Rogers and resulted in a gun battle that Chattanooga will long remember. Law enforcement officers within a radius of 50 miles of Chattanooga cooperated. At a special meeting of police representatives at the office of Chief C.R. Bryant, all possible angles were discussed.
Unfortunately, men, we have a complete description of these 2 bandits and definite identification clues.
What are they, Chief Bryan?
Well, first, Sussman, there's the nickel and dime angle. So anyone seen spending an unusual amount of silver is a definite suspect. Then there's the gun angle.
The gun angle?
It's this, Frazier. These men are crazy about guns. They take pride in them. Not just as weapons, but as items to collect.
So the bandits might just show off their guns sometime without staging a holdup, huh?
Particularly if they've been drinking.
That's still another clue, Chief Bryan. The amount of liquor they consume, judging by the amount they've stolen.
And the girl with them. The one that's been seen in their car. Now, we have her description. All right, Captain Edmondson. These are all valuable clues, men. And we have one other advantage. From what these bandits have said to their victims, they don't expect the police to go after them seriously.
Just because the thefts have been relatively small, huh?
Exactly.
That gives me an idea, Chief.
What is it, Edmondson?
Maybe we can get these bandits through a weakness in their own system.
How, Captain?
Let's give these clues to every reliable citizen in the vicinity of Chattanooga. Every small storekeeper. Then when the bandits do show up again, they'll be spotted immediately.
Good idea.
I get them.
Yeah. Well, then it's understood every available man is to stay on duty till these bandits are behind bars. I want them in custody before somebody gets killed.
Within 1 hour after that meeting, Colonel, merchants, filling station employees, liquor store proprietors, business people all over Chattanooga were planning to cooperate with the police.
Cooperate with police? Listen, I'm staying right here at the store. If those bandits come back this way, I'm going to be ready for them.
If those nickel and dime crooks come anywhere near me, I'm going to call the police. I'll know them if I ever see them again.
I'll be glad to cooperate. I've got a score to settle with those rats, and I'd like to see them both behind bars. If they ever come into my place, I'll...
Nickels and dimes, eh? I get it. If those buzzards stick their noses in my place, I'll be waiting for them. You can count on me.
That night, Colonel, December 26, 1939, at the Rock Castle Roadhouse, 10 miles west of Chattanooga, the cashier, Bill Rafer, was standing behind his counter.
Hey, you, cashier.
Yes, sir?
I want a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We're not allowed to sell liquor in bottles, except for guests of Rock Castle.
I'm a guest here. Me and my pal are in one of the cabins right next door.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Sure. Here you are. That'll be $165, please.
You'll have to take it and change.
Change?
Fistful, buddy. Here.
25, $50, 10, 20, 30, 55, 65. Right. Thank you, sir.
Your brother's right. Say, what are you staring at?
Oh, why,
See anything wrong with me?
No, I was just thinking what a good-looking green silk shirt you have on.
Oh, that. Yeah. Yeah, it is good-looking. Everything I got's good-looking. Look at this.
Hey, watch.
Don't be scared. I ain't going to use her on you.
Boy, that's some pistol.
Bet your life it is. Special automatic. Only one like it in the country.
Yes, sir. Well, is there anything else you want?
Yeah, sure. I almost forgot. Give me some of those box lunches you got, huh?
How many?
Let's see now. 3.
Yes,
3.
Here they are. Do you want me to carry them for you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm getting a little rocky.
Hey, Joe, take over, will you?
Okay.
I'll be right back. Let's go, sir. So which cabin is it?
Second one on the left.
This the cabin?
Yeah, I'll knock. Hey, open up. Come on, open up. It's me. Come on.
Pipe down, will you?
Come on, let me in. Where's Babe?
I reckon I'll be getting along, mister.
Yeah, sure. See you later, mister. Good night.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Operator, get me the police.
Police headquarters, Chief Ryan speaking.
Chief, listen, this is Bill Raper out at Rock Castle.
Yes, Bill?
Those 2 nickel and dime crooks you're looking for, they're here.
How do you know?
I'm positive, Chief. Every single clue you give me. The nickels and dimes, the guns, the liquor, everything checks.
Did you notice a car?
Yes, sir. It's a big, black, new 1940 Buick.
Where are they?
In a cabin right next door.
How many?
3 of them, sir. 2 men and a girl.
That's what I call fine cooperation, Bill. Sit tight and don't say a word to anyone. I'll send an emergency squad out there right away.
15 minutes later, Colonel, Captain Homer Edmondson with a group of picked men from the Chattanooga police force, including Detective Shipley and Carson, met members of the county uniformed police under Captain Dyer outside the Rock Castle Roadhouse. The cashier, Bill Raper, was waiting for them.
Which cabin are they in, Mr. Raper?
That one with the lights on, Captain Edmondson.
All right, men. Sisman and Fraser, you stick with me.
All right, Captain.
Now, we'll go to the front of the house. Shipley, you and Carson cover the back with Captain Dyer. You got that?
Right, Captain.
What's our plan, Captain? Simply to close in and get those bandits. We can't start shooting till we're absolutely sure these are the men we want. But if they show the slightest resistance, open fire with riot guns immediately. Ready? Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Watch it. They turned out the lights. Better stand back. I'll knock.
Open up.
Who is it?
Police.
Just a minute.
Hurry it up.
All right, coppers. Come and get it!
Get back, man.
Captain, just listen to those bullets bounce.
All right, men, open up with your riot guns.
Right, Captain.
Get down low, babe. Those cops are using riot guns.
We'll fix them, Jimmy. I'll load your pistol.
Roger.
Yeah?
Cover the back door. I'll cover the front.
Okay, Charleston.
Come on, coppers. Try and take it.
You'd better give up in there. You're surrounded.
We'll give them hot lead. Give me another gat, babe. This one's empty.
Here you are, Jimmy.
How is it in the back, Rogers?
Can't see him. It's too dark out there.
Well, they're all around us, Jimmy.
Keep down, babe.
Oh.
Babe, you hit.
Oh, my head.
Told you to keep down. All right, coppers. You got my gal. I'll show you can't get away with that. Charleston, there's a copper creeping up in the back. You cover the front, Rogers. I'll get that cop. He's coming right up to the back door.
What are you going to do, Jimmy?
Shut up, babe. I'm running this show.
Open your hands, all 3 of you.
I'm waiting for you, cop.
Jimmy, you killed him.
I'll say I killed him. I got his gun, too.
Jimmy, they got Rogers.
Lie down on the floor, babe. I'll get him for that. All right, coppers. I got one of you. Who's next?
Yes, Fraser?
They killed Shipley.
Shipley? How?
He broke in the back door, shot down before he had a chance.
Oh, the dirty dogs. Give me a riot gun, Fraser.
Yes,
mine's empty.
Captain, I'm going after him.
Now, wait, don't go up there. It's probably a trap.
There goes one of them out the side door.
Stop or I'll fire. He's running for the woods.
I can't see him.
There, between those big trees.
Missed him. It's so dark I can't see.
Oh, we'll never find him in this darkness.
What do we do, Captain?
He might be hurt. Dyer, you and Carson follow him. I am going to get some bloodhounds.
What's the matter with the dogs, Captain? Why are they stopping? Too dark for them?
I'm afraid they lost the trail, Fraser.
What, after we've followed that bandit for almost 8 miles?
It's all right, Sussman. Those bloodhounds have told me just what I want to know.
That'll get you, Captain.
For the last 2 miles, the bandits' trail has followed right along these railroad tracks.
That's right.
But now we've lost it. I can't see what that
We're
is.
headed toward Chattanooga, not away from it. Doesn't that mean anything to you men?
You mean you thought maybe the bandit would jump afraid away from Chattanooga?
No, Sussman. I thought he'd head for Chattanooga, but I couldn't be sure. Now I know he's gone back to the city, where we can lay our hands on him.
With one of the nickel and dime bandits, Joe Rogers, dead, Colonel, and the bandit's girlfriend in a prison hospital, the Chattanooga police combed the city for the remaining bandit, now definitely identified as James Charlson. Later that night, after visiting hundreds of rooming houses, 2 police officers, Patrolman Fraser and Sussman, climbed the stairs of a cheap rooming house an hour after midnight.
What number did the landlady say, Fraser?
Room 6.
It's room number 6, right up there at the head of the stairs.
Yeah. Landlady said her new boarder arrived an hour ago.
Have your gun ready?
Bet I will, Sussman. Turn on your flashlight. I'll try the door.
Right.
The door's unlocked.
That's lucky. Careful now.
Easy.
There, he's in bed. Sound asleep. Wonder if he's the guy we want.
He's pretty young for a bandit. Let's make sure, Sussman. Pull down the covers.
A pistol there in his right hand.
And another one next to him.
He's starting to wake up. Grab him.
With you. Look on that. I didn't do nothing.
I got him, Fraser. Put the bracelets on him.
Charlton, you're all through. You cops are crazy. I'm not the guy you want.
No, you're all right, Fraser. Let's see those 2 guns.
That don't prove nothing, copper. I didn't kill nobody. I like guns, see? I collect them.
Yeah? Well, this is one gun you never should have collected, Charlson. It's the gun you took from Detective Shipley after you killed him. And it's the last gun you're ever going to collect.
And so, Colonel Schwarzkopf, through splendid police work and excellent citizen cooperation, the criminal activities of James Charlson came to an abrupt end. Placed on trial in my court for robbery and murder on February 27th, 1940, he was quickly found guilty. I sentenced him to life imprisonment in the Tennessee State Penitentiary. He's there at this very moment.
And what happened to the girl who was with Charlson and Rogers, Judge Miller?
For months, she hovered between life and death with a bullet touching her brain. The doctor said her mental faculties would be impaired indefinitely, and under the circumstances, she was freed in the custody of her parents.
Thank you, Judge Miller, for a fine case. I'm particularly pleased with the way you brought out the great value of public cooperation with the authorities. When the police thus frankly solicit help from our law-abiding citizens, and those citizens promptly and comprehensively cooperate, no criminal can escape. Every time the police and the people work together, the end is inevitable. Crime does not pay.
And now, the clues.
Special bulletin, all citizens. Watch for murderer 24, 5 feet 5 inches, 135 pounds. Dark brown hair slicked back, brown eyes. This man with tall, sandy-haired companion having wrinkled face. Wanted for brutal murder several days ago. Refrigeration engineer near San Antonio, Texas. May be traveling in black Ford station wagon. And may have in possession a .44 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver with cedar handle.
Warning, citizens of Pennsylvania. Be on lookout for man 28, 5 feet 8 inches, 160 pounds, brown hair, gray eyes, occupation farmer. This man wanted in connection with feud slaying last week, Indian Head section of Fayette County, Pennsylvania.
If you have any information concerning these clues, notify your local police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or gangbusters at once. For Sloan's Liniment next week, the case of the missing corpse. Here, reenacted for the first time, the inside factual account of one of the most fantastic cases in all criminology. Learn how a dead man faced his murderer. Sloan's Liniment brings you one of Phillips H. Lord's most astounding dramatizations in America's Crusade against Crime.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories. Gangbusters!
Emergency flash. A crime wave of the most serious proportions is spreading throughout the United States. Tonight, Saturday, December 8, 1945, a serious crime is being committed every 40 seconds. Chicago, December 8th. One man killed, another wounded in gun battle with police.
Chelsea, Massachusetts, December 8th. Police searching desperately for person who telephoned father of 6-month-old baby that kidnapped child would be returned, quote, in a box, unquote.
Redwood City, California, December 8th. 16-year-old high school girl kidnapped by man and woman in green sedan.
These are authentic facts. Since this new crime wave has started, a murder has been committed in the United States every 3 hours.
In its relentless war upon this crime wave, that this country may be a safe country in which to live, Gangbusters presents Louis J. Valentine, former commissioner of the largest police force in the world, who will interview by proxy W.M. Adams, Sheriff, Potter County, Texas. Commissioner Valentine.
Now, Sheriff Adams, suppose you start our gangbusters case for tonight.
Well, Commissioner Valentine, I'd like to go back a few years to Dallas, Texas. Sheriff Hart was telephoning to the Texas State Police.
This escaped convict is deadly. I consider him one of the most dangerous criminals at large. Now, here's the description. Blacky Thompson, 26, 5 feet 8 inches, weight 150, coal black hair, dark brown eyes, suave, handsome, dresses like a fashion plate. Blacky Thompson will kill on the slightest provocation.
Don't play anymore, Leila.
All right, Denny.
That's our song. I can't stand it tonight, Leila. Do you realize ever since we were 10 years old, we planned to get married?
I'm sorry, Denny.
Leila, you're just infatuated. You don't know anything about him. He only came to town a month ago.
But I can't help my feelings, Denny.
Sure, he's handsome. He's been places. He's flashy.
He's exciting, Denny. He's romance. He's everything I ever dreamed of.
And I'm just the guy who's always lived across the street.
You'll get over it.
Never. Well, you don't even know, Leila, what he does for a living.
Oh.
I suppose that's him now.
Is my hair all right? Do I look all right, Denny?
You look awful good to me.
I'll be back in a minute. Blackie.
Hi, Ken.
Denny's in the living room. I've just told him.
Yeah?
I hated terribly to hurt him.
You told your old folks you're leaving town with me?
No, but I've got my bags all packed. After they're asleep, I'll leave them a note and meet you.
I want to get out of this break.
I never was so excited in my life. Oh, Blackie, you do love me, don't you?
Oh, sure.
Oh, Blackie, there won't be one bored minute being with you.
You don't know the half of it, kid.
Leaving this way, I'll probably never be able to come home again. You'll always love me, won't you?
You're okay, beautiful. Wait till you get a look at the outside world with me.
Emergency, all state police. First
National Bank at Rush Springs, Oklahoma, held up by 3 gunmen. Leader, coal black hair, brown eyes. Attention to state police. Gun shop at Reatook, Oklahoma, held up by 3 gunmen. Leader, black hair, immaculately dressed, brown eyes. Machine guns, shotguns, and ammunition stolen. Leader answers description of dangerous escaped convict, Blacky Thompson.
Pretty swanky nightclub. Huh, Leela? Hey, you never saw nothing like this in Hicktown you come from.
Huh?
What's the matter?
Oh, I was just listening to that song. It just happens to mean a lot to me.
Oh, thinking of that Hick Romeo I took you away from. Well, snap out of it.
All right. All right, I'm sorry, Blacky.
You wanted excitement. You're getting it, aren't you?
Sure.
Remember the first night you threw a fit when you found out who I really was?
It was all so new to me, Blacky.
And now I'm going to give you some real excitement.
What?
I'm pulling another heist tomorrow.
A bank?
Yeah, and the heat's on me. You're going to drive our getaway car.
I'm going to...
Drive our getaway car.
All right. All right, if you say so, Blacky.
Well, that's what I do say.
You still love me, Blacky?
Oh, lay off that goo. I'm getting fed up with it. Now, you'll park the car in front of the bank, and I'll take Whitney and go in. Yes, sir? You're the cashier?
Yes, sir?
There's a stick up. Reach for the ceiling.
Don't shoot.
Reach for the ceiling.
My arm.
You didn't reach quick enough. Grab the dough. Okay, pal. Shut up.
You broke the cashier?
Yeah, never mind him. Get the dough.
I got it.
Okay, then come on. And if anyone tries to stop us when we get outside, kill him.
Are you all right, Blacky? I heard shots.
Shut your mouth and step on the gas. Step on it, I said. Lots of pass now, Leela.
All right, Blacky.
Those cops sent out alarms. They spot a car hitting 60, they'll figure it's us. Keep your guns ready in the back seat there, Whitney.
Don't worry, I'm ready.
Oh, Blacky, I didn't realize it would be like
You
this.
start whining now, I'll put a plug you just as quick as I would anybody else.
All right, Blacky, I'm sticking with you. I always will.
Hey, Blacky, you think you'll kill that cashier back in the bank?
Oh, what's the difference? We got the dough.
Blacky, look. Coming down that other road.
A car.
Whole posse in it.
Yeah.
What'll we do?
We can't turn back.
Yeah, but Blacky...
Oh, shut up. We've only got one chance. Now, listen, Leela. You do what I tell you.
All right, Blacky, anything you say.
Keep driving straight ahead as though nothing's wrong.
Yes.
If those cops yell to pull up, stop the car. But when you do, pull up just a few feet ahead of them. You understand?
What for?
Never mind. Get the guns back there ready. I'll crawl in the back seat with you, Whitney. Cops see us all right. They're waving. Whitney, hide down on the floor of the car. Now, you do what I told you, Leela, or you'll get a slug in the back of the head.
Pull over, you people. Pull over.
Okay, officer. Stop just ahead of them, Leela. That's right. Now, when I say so, we'll jam our guns out the back window and let them have it.
Blacky, no.
Keep your mouth shut. I can see through the back window. Cops are getting out now. Yeah. They're walking this way.
Okay, you people. Down the car.
Let them have it.
More. Kill them all.
We got most of them, Blacky.
It's horrible.
Shut up. Get this car going.
Blacky, you killed them. You killed them.
And I'll kill you if you don't give this car all it's got. No cops taking Blacky Thompson.
One member of that patrol posse was killed, Commissioner Valentine. 2 of the others were badly wounded, and another received slight wound. But Blacky Thompson and his gang escaped.
Now back to Gangbusters and Commissioner Valentine.
What happened, Sheriff Adams, after Blacky Thompson's spectacular escape from that posse?
Well, Commissioner Valentine, Blacky Thompson, reckless as he was, thought it best to hide out for a while. He and Leela had a hideout just outside of Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Why, Blacky.
Come in, Leela.
New suit? New shoes? But what's the idea of the suitcase? Are we going somewhere?
Hand me those gloves on the bureau.
These?
Uh-huh. Pigskin. Pretty hard and rough.
Blacky, you were planning on working out on me.
No, one little talk with you first. You've been getting on my nerves. I'm fed up.
Blacky.
I don't want no scene. When I'm fed up with the dame, I'm through, and that ends it.
But I can't go home. I haven't got any place to go. I haven't got anybody but you. You can't leave me.
The reason I wanted to talk to you is... You think you're going to get back on me and tipping off the cops? You got another think coming.
No, Blacky, you can't leave
One
me.
word to the cops and I'll find you and fill you full of lead.
After I've given up my home and family and everything for you.
These pigskin gloves are just like steel. And you have a beautiful face. I should bump you off now to make sure you don't talk, but just as a little sample... Yeah. Be a long time before that puss of yours looks human again. And if you're even tempted to say a word to the cops, just remember that little sample.
Blacky!
Mike, come in the office a minute.
All right, Sheriff. Did you check with the police of nearby cities on Blacky Thompson? Yes, Sheriff. A little soap.
How about wanted circulars?
Well, they're just coming in from the printer. I'm sending one to every police chief in the country.
Good. Sheriff House office.
Is it...
Who is this?
There's a man you want bad, and I know where he is.
Who?
Blacky Thompson.
Blacky Thompson.
He said he'd kill me if I ever told.
Who are you?
I was his girlfriend.
Where is he?
Tim's bar. I hope you lock him up till he dies.
Is his gang with him?
I don't know about his gang, but his new beautiful girlfriend might be.
Hello. Hello.
Tip on Blacky Thompson?
Yeah, Mike. A woman. Blacky's supposed to be over at Tim's bar. I'm driving over right now.
But you can't go alone, Sheriff. His whole gang may be with him.
I'll take my chances, Mike. This time it's going to be Blacky Thompson or me.
Hello, Sheriff. Kind of raw out tonight.
Hello, Tim.
What brings you to my place, Sheriff? Something up?
Maybe.
Well, no one's been here except that fella sitting back there in the corner.
He's the man I'm watching in the bar mirror.
Yeah? Who is he?
5 feet 8 inches, 150 pounds, black hair, dark brown eyes.
That's right, Blacky Thompson. I saw his picture in the papers and What are you going to do, Sheriff?
I'm going to take him.
Hey, that guy's a killer.
Move down the bar out of range.
All right, stay where you are, both of you.
And if we don't?
I knew you was a copper the minute you came in. I was waiting for your first move to kill you.
Well, Blackie, it looks like you've got the drop on me.
I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to kill that dame that tipped you off.
You wouldn't just kill me here in cold blood?
Oh, wouldn't I? You said your last speech, Sheriff. And I'm going to...
Sheriff, you threw him right over your shoulder.
All right, Blackie, get up on your feet.
Okay, I'm getting up, Cop. I'm getting up.
There are a lot of jobs marked up against you, Blackie. And one of them is cop killing.
Irvin Blacky Thompson, rise and face the court. It is the sentence of this court that you, Irvin Blacky Thompson, for the crimes of kidnapping, murder, and robbery, be taken to the Texas State Prison at Huntsville, and that within the walls of the said prison, on the 24th day of October next, between the hours of 6 and 10 in the morning, a sufficient current of electricity be passed through your body to cause your death. And may God have mercy on your soul.
Just a minute, Whitney.
You know the rules. Convicts aren't allowed near the death house here.
Well, I thought maybe I thought I could see my old pal Blacky Thompson. They're electrocuting him in a week, you know.
You have to get permission from the warden.
Oh. Well, then, would you... Quiet, got her, I'll kill you.
Where'd you get that gun?
Open the door of the death house, quick. Surprising what a little gun smuggled in can do. Now walk inside, Screw.
Nobody ever escaped from this death house yet, Whitney.
Give me those keys. Blackie, what cell you in?
Over here, Whitney. Hurry.
Yeah. Come on, God, run with me.
Get me out of this cell. Open the door now. Come on.
Okay.
You know what it's like to be in the death house. Come on, open it up, Whitney. Hurry.
I'm working as fast as I can, Blackie.
I'll never forget this favor, Whitney. Okay, Whitney. Now I'll take that gun.
But Blackie...
Give me your gun. I'll shove the guard in the cell. That screws out for good. Hey, open my cell, Blackie. Now let's get out of here.
Ain't you gonna string those other guys in the death house?
Nuts, let them burn. I'm saving myself. Come on.
I've got the ladder. Get on the other side of this door, Blackie.
Good. No guy ever broke out of this death house before. Get that ladder.
Okay, I got it.
Over to the wall now. Okay. Stand the ladder up against the wall.
It's okay. I'll start up.
No, you don't. I'm first.
Oh! Hey, that's no way to treat me after I got you out of the death house, Blackie.
Blackie Thompson. Blackie comes first.
Hey, look out. The guard up on the wall sees us. Oh, Blackie. Come back. Help me, will you?
Help yourself, punk. What do you think I am?
Emergency. Blacky Thompson has just escaped from the death house, while Whitney, who aided him to escape, was shot by the tower guard and killed. Emergency. Blacky Thompson has just escaped.
I'm right here in the shadow.
Oh, darling. I couldn't see you.
You really like these country club dances?
No, they're boring. I wish you'd come in.
I've been watching you through the window.
I knew you were here. I was trying to sneak out. I never knew a girl could be so in love in just 1 week.
Well, you're running away with me or not?
But do you realize I hardly even know your name?
You're in love with me, though.
More than anything in the world.
Well, then after you get home tonight, pack. Sneak out, and I'll have a car on the street in back of your house.
You honestly love me, don't you?
Would I be asking you to run away with me if I didn't?
All right, I will go with you. I'll go with you to the end of the world if you want to.
We won't go that far at first. I'll take you for a few weeks to Amarillo, Texas.
Amarillo?
Now, don't worry, kid. You won't be bored. I promise you that.
Attention. First National Bank just robbed by gunmen, about 28. Black hair, handsome, immaculately dressed. This gunman cruelly beat cashier. Believed to be killer Blacky Thompson. Approach with caution.
Sheriff's office. Hello. Hello, what's the matter? This is the sheriff's office. What's the matter?
Are you...
Who is this?
You looking for Blacky Thompson?
Blacky Thompson. Every office in the South's looking for Blacky Thompson.
He's here, in Amarillo.
Where?
I don't know.
Who are you?
I'm his girlfriend. He told me he was going to marry me. He said he loved me. He's found another girl, and I hope you catch him and shoot him and put him in the electric chair and kill him and put him in jail for life. I never want to see him again.
Hello. Attention, Texas Police. Blacky Thompson reported to be here in Amarillo. All patrol cars cover main highways. Killer Blacky Thompson reported here in Amarillo.
You don't suppose, Sheriff, that girl who phoned in gave us a wrong steer on Blacky Thompson?
If she did, Inspector, she was the cleverest actor I ever heard.
I'll wager every police car in Texas is patrolling tonight.
Look. Way down there on the low road, see?
Yeah. It's a sedan. Must be doing 70.
But look, way behind it. 3 squad cars.
We're after him, Sheriff. Must be Blacky Thompson in the first car. He's outrunning the squad cars.
Oh, what a rotten break. This road runs parallel to that road for miles before there's a cut across.
We'll never be able to get down the highway in time to cut him off.
We've got to. Those squad cars will never catch him. There's only one way to head the car off. Go down the embankment.
It's a 60-foot bank and a rough field beyond.
We've got to take a chance. Hang on. We'll either make it or be killed.
Watch it. Look out. That rock. Steady. Sheriff, you made it. He's about 300 yards ahead of us. Step on it.
I can't go any faster. He's pulling away.
I'll see if I can plug his tires. Good, he's stopping.
Look out.
Sheriff, you hurt?
There's some of the glass in the windshield.
We'll get him. Oh, here comes the other squad cars.
Come on, men. There he is, right by his car. Spread out on the sides of the road. Lie low, men. Open fire. All right, men. Hold it.
Careful. Thompson may be playing possum.
I don't think so. Keep your guns on him, though. If he starts to get up out of that road, let him have it.
You got my coffers. There must be at least 30 bullets in him.
Well, men, that's the end of Blacky Thompson. It's a shame that some of these men don't realize before it's too late that they just can't get away with it.
Well, Commissioner Valentine, that's the case of Blacky Thompson. And I hope if there's anyone listening tonight who contemplates committing a crime, they'll just remember this case.
We appreciate, Sheriff Adams, your telling us these inside facts tonight.
Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
Get this and get it straight. Crime doesn't pay, which was the motto of our next broadcast from the pen of Raymond Chandler. The first show aired on NBC in June 1947. And then in 1948, the series moved to CBS, where it was renamed. For 114 episodes, the CBS version ran and ended in September 1950. It was a more hard-boiled program than many of the other private detective shows at the time, containing few quips or quaint characters. We're proud to present to you the adventures of Philip Marlowe, right here on HOJO Radio.
Sounded good, real good. A weekend at Malibu, expenses paid with a cash bonus thrown in. But that was before I knew about the henchman, the redhead, and the corpse. These three and a white Panama hat ruined it all for me.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And now, with Gerald Moore starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's unusual story, The Panama Hat.
I was sitting in my office bombing the ashtray on my desk with paper clips, wondering what kind of a job a private detective gets when clients stop calling completely. I was seesawing between the picture of me as a well-starched huckster and the more comfortable portrait of Marlowe, author in English tweeds, man of distinction. And the telephone brought me to a rude awakening. Marlowe speaking.
My name is Isabel Gordon, Mr. Marlowe. I must see you at once. My husband Bruce is in terrible danger. Could you possibly meet me in an hour at the Pelican Inn? It's a small roadside place on the way to Malibu. I'll explain everything then.
Pelican Inn, 1 hour, Mrs. Gordon. The Pelican Inn was strictly a liquor license with chairs, and a bored piano player in one corner grinding away. The place was empty, and I was about to order a drink when the front door opened and a woman entered. She was tall and thin and right out of Harper's Bazaar. From double ankle-strap shoes to close-cropped hair. One look at her fear-crowded eyes, and I knew it was Isabel Gordon. I got up and introduced myself. Then we went to a table, and she started to talk.
For 2 weeks now, Mr. Marlowe, my husband Bruce has been receiving unsigned, threatening letters. I'm almost sick with worry. I don't know what to do.
Now, wait a minute, Mrs. Gordon. The first thing to do is to get hold of yourself. And tell me the whole thing, right from the beginning.
Yes, all right. Well, first of all, Bruce and I have only been married a little more than a year. We're living with my uncle, Avery Fairchild, on an estate out beyond Malibu.
I see. What does your husband do for a living, Mrs. Gordon?
Why, he's a photographer.
Movie or commercial?
Well, at present, it's neither. You see, Bruce has been terribly unsettled since the war. Lost, sort of, and then recently he got interested in photography, and it's been a great help to him.
But he doesn't exactly work at it, huh?
Well, he's converted one of the rooms in the guest cottage into a studio, and he spends almost all of his time there experimenting with portrait work. But he doesn't actually have a job, if that's what you mean.
How does that appeal to your Uncle Avery?
Oh, I'll be honest with you, Mr. Marlowe. My uncle thinks the sun rises and sets on me, but with Bruce...
It's total eclipse, is that it?
I'm afraid so. All his life, Uncle Avery has been concerned only with dollars and cents. He simply doesn't understand or sympathize with an artist's viewpoint.
Uh-huh. Now, what about these unsigned letters?
Well, Bruce has been getting them for the past 2 weeks. They're always made up of words cut from newspapers and pasted on ordinary paper.
That's a cheap stunt. What do they say?
Each one threatens my husband's life. Yet both he and Uncle Avery consider them nothing more than the work of some harmless crank, in spite of the fact that for the last several days I've seen a strange man lurking around our place every night.
Can you describe him?
No, except well, he's about your height and build.
Is that all?
Yes. No, Wait a minute. There is something else. Each time I saw him, Mr. Marlowe, he was wearing a white Panama.
Well, that's not much to go on. Tell me, why haven't you called the police?
Uncle Avery wouldn't hear of it. He hates publicity, dreads it. That's why I suggested contacting you, a private detective.
A sort of a bodyguard for Bruce, huh?
Yes. However, Mr. Marlowe, Bruce is somewhat temperamental, and I know he'd rebel at the thought of being watched over, so I'd rather you posed as a house guest, an old college chum of mine, perhaps.
My fee is $25 a day plus expenses, Mrs. Gordon.
Oh, any price is all right, Mr. Marlowe. Let's see, it's a little after 7 now. Can you be at our place at Malibu at 9?
I think so. But as a fellow alumnus, Isabel, one last question. Where'd you go to college?
Southern California. Why?
Well, I was afraid you might say Vassar. After Isabel left, I remembered that I was already on my expense account. So I had a tasteless, cold, hot blue plate special and a burned cup of coffee. Then I stepped out of the Pelican Inn and headed across the paved parking lot to my car. It was already dark, and I was admiring the full moon and the beautiful wash it made over the ocean when it happened.
Hey, mister!
What the...
You all right, mister?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks to your sounding off.
That nut was aiming right for you.
Yeah, looks that way. Did you happen to get his number?
No.
What about his face? Can you describe him?
No, matter of fact, I only noticed one thing.
What was that?
The hat he was wearing. It was a white Panama.
I tried to be broad-minded, but there was no other way to look at it. The gentleman in the white Panama hat definitely meant business. I returned to my apartment in Hollywood, where I shaved, showered, and packed. And then I headed for Malibu. At 8:45, I was inside the grounds of the Fairchild estate. Another mile, and I was at the front door. When I entered, Isabel greeted me like I was a keg of brandy around a St. Bernard's neck. Then we waded through an inch-thick carpet to the library where Uncle Avery, fat, bald, and looking like he'd just bitten into an underripe persimmon, was waiting. I wasn't asked to sit down, and I wasn't offered a cigar. Avery Fairchild was not one to waste time.
I'm a very rich man, Mr. Marlowe. As such, I'm the target for all kinds of fortune hunters, confidence men, and cranks. In my lifetime, I've been threatened and pestered by a score of crackpots, each one slightly more psychopathic than the last. It's never bothered me, and it never will. However, in this case, the approach is a bit different.
Meaning you think somebody's trying to get at you through your nephew, huh?
Never refer to him as my nephew. My niece's husband, if you please. And don't forget it.
Uncle Avery.
Isabel, my feelings about your husband are no secret.
You're being unfair, Uncle Avery. Just because Bruce is an artist and he...
Artist, is he? Why, Isabel, that man's no more an artist than I am a horse jockey.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, Bruce.
Hello, darling. You were saying something, Uncle Avery?
Bruce, I want you to meet Philip Marlowe. We were great friends at school, and when I heard he was in town for a while, I insisted that he spend a weekend with us.
How do you do, Mr. Gordon?
It's a pleasure to have you with us, Mr. Marlowe. You're very welcome.
I do the welcoming around here, Bruce.
Mr. Marlowe's had a long trip, and I'm certain he'd like to turn in early. Bruce, darling, he's going to stay in the guest cottage, the room next to your studio. Will you show him there, please?
Oh, I'll be glad to. By the way, Isabella, I'm going to work late, so I'll say goodnight to you now.
Good night, dearest.
Good night, sweet.
Please be careful.
Yes, Bruce, by all means, be careful. Remember, the true artist belongs to posterity. Or something.
The guest cottage was only a landscaped hop, skip, and a jump from the museum that Uncle Avery called home. And as Bruce and I strolled along a flagstone path, I feigned a deep interest in photography. That was all my host needed. He struck at the bait like a shark with malnutrition.
Well, Mr. Marlowe, it didn't even occur to me that photography might be one of your hobbies. Isabel never said a word.
Well, good for Isabel. I'm strictly a dabbler. And tell me, Mr. Gordon, how long have you been at this?
Portrait work? Oh, about 6 months. You see, I divide my time between my studio here and a school I attend in Hollywood. That way I capture both the theory and practical experience at the same time.
Oh.
Well, here we are. Would you like to see the studio?
Yes, I would.
Here, let me get the lights.
Wow. This is all right, huh? Enlarger, 2 cameras, dark room. Are these your pictures?
Yes. What do you think of them?
I don't know exactly. They're certainly different, huh?
They are unusual, aren't they?
Yeah.
You see, Marlowe, each picture is actually made up of 2 separate studies which are superimposed. I call it interpretive photography.
Uh-huh. Now, this one. A splash of light and a bent pipe cleaner?
The sun and the plant shoot. It's called metamorphosis.
Oh. Well, what about that one there in the corner? A girl's face and clouds, maybe.
Mr. Marlowe, you'll excuse me, but that picture isn't ready for display yet.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry. I thought it was just another interpretive photograph.
Well, it's not. That is, it isn't finished yet. Now, Mr. Marlowe, I'm afraid I've forgotten what my wife said about your long trip. Shall I show you to your room?
Yes, please do, Mr. Gordon. My room on the other side of the guest cottage was wider than Hollywood Boulevard. After Bruce apologized for his display of temperament and bid me a polite good night, I climbed into the silk pajamas that were laid out for me, stretched out on the bed, and tried to figure who belonged to the white Panama hat. But an hour passed, and I wasn't getting any sensible answers. So I switched out the light, put my gun on the table next to me, and snuggled into what felt like 1.5 miles of mattress. I was almost asleep, and the clatter of a shovel falling on the walk outside brought me straight up in bed. I grabbed my gun and made for the door. But the second I threw it open, I knew that I'd made a mistake. Whoever kicked over that shovel had heard me and met me with a large fist that came straight at my face. Oh! As I came back into the world, I was embarrassed to find myself alone and flat on my back. When I started to get up, I felt like the L.A. Dons, water boy and all, had run over my face. My gun was a few feet away, and when I went to pick it up, I stopped short. There was a souvenir from the man with the great big fist. A gold cigarette lighter. It was engraved to Skipper on his birthday. Putting it in my pocket, I picked up my gun and made for Bruce's studio. He wasn't there. I threw on some clothes and went back to the house and found Isabel in the living room. I was about to give her a biased account of the shortest fight on record when I noticed Uncle Avery quietly entering the house from a side door that led to the garden.
What's the matter, Phil?
Bruce isn't in the studio anymore.
What?
Now, Isabel, there's no reason for alarm. Why, Bruce often goes off into the night like this. Calls it a search for beauty or some such rot.
And what was it you were after just now outside, Mr. Fairchild?
I was looking for my niece, Marlowe. Isabel, your cousin John telephoned to say he wouldn't be down this weekend.
Oh.
I didn't know there were to be other guests.
Oh, just my cousin, John Martin, Phil. Not really a guest. He comes down often.
Yeah, too often to suit me.
Oh, Uncle Avery, please. You know that I'm fond of him.
Yes, but I don't know why. He's a chronic gambler and of no use to anyone. Living at the Wilshire Gardens when he can't afford it. Driving expensive cars.
Oh, you're too hard on him. Skipper is
Skipper?
bad. Yes. Do you know him?
No. No, I don't.
Well, you're not missing anything, believe me.
Oh, I do believe you, Mr. Fairchild. I believe your every word.
What?
Good night, all. I left the house and headed straight for my car with the Wilshire Gardens in Hollywood in mind. It was just a chance that John Skipper Martin might own a white Panama hat. When I got to the prodigal cousin's bungalow, it was dark inside. So I pressed one hand close to my gun and the other against the doorbell. But there was no answer. A side window was open, and I started toward it when a nasty voice greeted me from the shadow of a palm tree.
Good evening. Lovely night, isn't it?
I hadn't noticed. I've been busy.
I know. We've been waiting for you for a long time.
We?
Uh-huh. Me and my nice shiny revolver here. 38.
Oh, I see. Well, you make a handsome couple, and I hope you're both very happy together now. What do you want?
I don't want anything. I'm here to give you something. Advice.
Look, brother, I've already told you I'm busy, so if this is a heist, let's get it over with, fast.
You know, I think you're confused. I'm holding the gun, Mr. Martin.
Martin?
John Skipper Martin. Surprised that I know your name?
Why, yes. Yes, I am. I don't recall having had the pleasure.
You haven't. People never forget me, Mr. Martin. My tag is Brock. Does that mean anything?
No, what do you do? Sing, dance, tell jokes?
Yeah, that's it. The last one. I tell jokes.
I can't wait.
You won't have to, Mr. Martin. I'm going to tell you one right now. Goes like this. Once upon a time, a young punk borrowed $10,000 from a generous gambler on his promise to pay the money back within a week. But the young punk never came across. So the gambler told a nice fellow named Brock to call on the young punk and tell him that he had 48 hours in which to get the money together. And that if he didn't, he'd never see the 49th hour. What's the matter, Mr. Martin? Don't you like jokes?
Brock grinned, shoved his 38 into a shoulder holster, and walked away. As soon as he rounded the corner, I went to the open window and climbed in. I rummaged through 2 closets looking for a white Panama you-know-what. I was about to search a third when I heard something that brought me to a dead stop. It was a key in the front door lock. I closed my right hand over the gun in my pocket, moved flush against the side wall, and waited. But the moment the door swung open, the telephone rang, and the hulk of a man that entered went straight for it. He was wearing a gray fedora.
Hello? Oh, hello, Isabel. What? Bruce? Are you sure? But that's impossible. I mean, things like that just don't... Excuse me, Isabel. I think I have a visitor. I'll call you back.
Reach, Mr. Martin.
Who are you?
My name is Brock. You owe a client of mine $10,000. He wants his money in 48 hours.
I'll get it. I swear I will. I'll have it right here, on time, all of it.
How are you going to do that, Mr. Martin?
I've got a way. Someone's going to give it to me tonight.
Why?
Why? Because it's the healthy thing to do. That's why. That's all you wanted to know, isn't it?
That's all. Good night, Mr. Martin.
Hello?
This is Marlowe, Isabel. I'm calling from a drugstore in Hollywood. Has Bruce returned yet?
No, and he won't. He's been kidnapped.
What's that?
And whoever did it wants $50,000 before morning, or we'll never see Bruce alive again.
As I walked to my car opposite the Wilshire Gardens, I felt like my brain had spent the night in a cement mixer. I was about to head back for Malibu when I suddenly saw Skipper Martin dash out of his bungalow and pile into a long, glossy convertible. I followed him out to the Pacific Palisades, where he made a call at a little house which sat on a bluff overlooking the sea. Once he was inside, I moved up quietly and saw that the name on the mailbox was Miss Carla Winters. I crawled up to a lace curtain window where I could see what was going on. One look at Miss Winters made the damage I was doing to my tweeds worthwhile. She was strictly Dragon Lady, with flaming red hair and a waist you could span with 2 hands, if you were lucky enough to get that close. And the rest of the measurements fit just perfect.
Why, you sniveling coward, you wouldn't dare open your mouth about us.
Wouldn't I? Listen, Carla, I've got myself Skipper Martin to look after. First, last, and always. You remember that.
Why should I? You've always been cheap talk and no more. Look at you now. You're in trouble, so what do? You holler blackmail. Go on, get out of here. Get out of here before I kill you.
When Skipper slammed the front door, stomped to his car, and roared off, I couldn't figure any reason, legitimate reason, that is, for calling on Carla Winters. So I returned to the Fairchild place. Isabel was somewhere between hysteria and collapse over the fact that she and Bruce had less than $2,000 in their own name. Uncle Avery, of course, was more than reluctant to pay the ransom demanded for the return of a man he'd rather not have returned. But his niece won out.
All right, Isabel, I'll give you the money. But understand, I'm doing this for you, not for that no
yes,
good...
Uncle Avery, I understand, but can you get that much cash at this hour? The banks
Who said anything about banks? You know I don't like them. Money will be in your hands in 30 minutes. In the meantime, tell Mr. Marlowe here what arrangements you've made with your husband's abductors.
1 minute, Mr. Fairchild. What about the police?
The police have already been notified, Mr. Marlowe. They've agreed not to interfere until tomorrow morning. By that time, I suppose we'll have Bruce returned to us.
To us, Uncle Avery?
That's a mere slip of the tongue, Isabel. I'm only paying for his return. You take over from there. I don't want him.
A half hour later, Avery Fairchild handed me a bundle of bills which added up to $50,000 cash. The bills seemed slightly dirty. The old geezer must have had them buried someplace. For a moment, I couldn't help thinking, boy, to get at this place with a shovel sometime. But then I got back to the more pressing matters at hand. I wrapped up the money in a shoebox and I drove north along the Pacific Coast Highway. I covered the 60 miles to the rendezvous, which was a junkyard near Ventura, in about as many minutes. Then, according to instructions, I slowed down to 10 miles an hour. I blinked my lights twice, tossed out the shoebox. I was just about to resume my speed when the headlights of an approaching car fell on a man as he darted back into the junkyard. And I saw what I'd been expecting all the time. A white Panama hat. But I was still playing by the rules. So there was only one thing I could do about it. I slammed my foot down on the accelerator and kept it there until I reached the nearest telephone, where I telephoned Skipper Martin at the Wilshire Gardens. It was just possible that he owned two hats. But that little balloon exploded in a hurry.
Hello?
Mr. Martin?
Yes. Who is this?
This is Brock, remember me?
Oh, yes, of course. I've been hoping you'd call.
You mean you got the money right now?
Well, no, not this minute, but I will have it in a couple of hours.
You're sure, Mr. Martin?
I'm positive, Brock.
Now only one thing figured. The man in the Panama hat worked for Skipper Martin. It had to be. An hour later, I pulled in at the Fairchild estate. And the moment I put my AA over the threshold, I knew that the kidnapper, too, had kept his part of the bargain. Bruce Gordon was back, safe and sound.
It happened shortly after you retired, Mr. Marlowe. I was working in my studio when a man wearing a
white Panama hat.
Yes. But how did you know that, Mr. Marlowe?
They're very popular this season, Mr. Gordon.
Darling, Mr. Marlowe was a private detective.
Huh?
But I'll tell you all about that later. Go on with your story.
Well, this man was wearing a handkerchief over his face, and he forced me to go along with him at gunpoint. Took me to a car parked in the service driveway and told me to turn around. And I was hit from behind and went out cold.
Oh, darling, how terrible.
It wasn't pleasant. When I came to, I was bound hand and foot, blindfolded and gagged. I had no idea where I was.
Oh, but didn't you see anybody before you were released?
No, Uncle Avery. Before they let me go, they hit me again. When I came to that time, I was lying on the road out near Ventura, untied. That's about it.
I suppose you've told the story to the police already, huh?
No, he hasn't, Mr. Marlowe, and what's more, he isn't going to. I'm sorry, but I was forced to lie to you earlier this evening. The police mean reporters, and they mean publicity. And I hate publicity. I'm sure you see my point.
I wouldn't make book on that, Mr. Fairchild. Secrets like this only encourage kidnappers.
Well, since we no longer see eye to eye, Mr. Marlowe, I'd suggest that we consider your services at an end. I'll have my check at your office in the morning. Good night, sir.
Avery Fairchild wasn't the kind of a man you argued with. I threw my coat over my arm, tipped my hat to Isabel, and stepped outside. I hadn't once mentioned Skipper Martin to the family. That might have been a mistake, but I still wanted to look around before I yelled copper. As I walked past the guest cottage, I decided to go in and check Bruce's studio. Maybe the man in the white PH had left a few odd footprints on the ceiling. I tossed my coat in a corner chair and started through the clutter. 10 minutes later, I'd found nothing. I was about to leave when I suddenly remembered the picture of a girl in some clouds that Bruce had been so careful to keep out of sight. It hadn't been moved. And when I brought it into the light, I didn't have to look twice. It was the portrait of Carla Winters, a red-headed dragon lady that Skipper Martin had visited. Now things began to add up. At the chauffeur's quarters, there was an outside telephone, and I put through a hurry call to Lieutenant Ibarra at Homicide in L.A. The best I could get was one Sergeant Neely.
I'm sorry, Mr. Marlowe, but the lieutenant's out on a call right now. There's some kind of a row uptown.
Well, do you know where he is? The address, I mean.
Oh, yeah, sure. It's one of those bungalows at the Wilshire Gardens.
The Wilshire Gardens?
That's right. What's so special about that?
Maybe nothing. I'll know in a minute. Thanks, Neely.
Hello?
This is Marlowe, Ibarra. What brings you to Skipper Martin's at this late hour?
Well, it seems as though some person or persons unknown fired a gun several times a little more than an hour ago. 4 shots, to be exact.
Well, you think Skipper Martin fired them?
No, Marlowe, I'm sure Martin didn't fire them. You see, he stopped them, personally.
Before I hung up, I gave Ibarra a quick rundown on the whole story. After making me feel like a schoolboy for keeping him in the dark so long, he told me to sit on the Fairchild's front steps until he got there. Well, it gave me a half hour to kill, most of which I spent walking around aimlessly, trying to get something close to 4 out of 2 and 2. But I couldn't. Finally, I heard Ibarra siren up to the front door. I was about to head for him when the chill in the morning air reminded me that my topcoat was still in Bruce's studio. I went back and got it. When I turned for the door again, I noticed a little slip of paper that had been under the coat fall to the floor. I picked it up. I must have held it for a full minute before I realized what it meant. Just a small slip of paper, and yet it made everything, the kidnapping, Carla, the murder, fall right into place. When I entered the living room at the house, one glance at Isabel and Bruce told me that she'd already knew about Skipper's death. Only Uncle Avery, who was not one to shed crocodile tears, hadn't changed. Ibarra, of course, was unhappy.
Marlowe, we can't run any kind of a police department when every private detective acts like he's the commissioner himself. Why didn't you call me when this business first began to smell? You know better.
I'm sorry, Ibarra, and I hate to sound immodest, but I happen to be one of the 2 men in this room who can name Bruce Gordon's kidnapper and Skipper Martin's killer.
You know what you're saying, Marlowe?
I think so. The man in the white Panama hat who kidnapped Bruce Gordon, Lieutenant, is Bruce Gordon himself. In other words, Bruce Gordon kidnapped Bruce Gordon.
No!
What?
You're out of your mind, Marlowe.
Am I? Would you still say that, Gordon, if we paid a call to Carla Winters and asked her to hand over the $50,000 of so-called ransom money she's holding for you two? Or would you prefer...
Stop, Gordon, stop.
The window, Ibarra!
Bruce! Then, in other words, Marlowe, Bruce, who eventually planned to divorce Isabel and marry Carla Winters, wanted to have a little stake, like $50,000 around first.
That's right, Ibarra. But Skipper Martin knew about Bruce and Carla's plans to marry later, and he tried to blackmail them to pay off his gambling debts. That's why he came to Bruce's cottage on the sly. However, he got there just in time to see Bruce leave of his own free will, and therefore knew later that he couldn't have been kidnapped.
Which gave him 2 holds over Bruce.
That's right. But he made a mistake when he went to Carla's house and got too demanding, because she told Bruce about it, and before he released himself, he took care of Skipper, with 4 gunshots to be exact. Charming people, aren't they, Ibarra?
Lovely. Sometimes I think I should shoot higher and save the state a lot of money. And he almost got away with it. By the way, Marlowe, how do you know?
That Bruce was the man in the white Panama hat? Well, I was pretty certain, but I got my proof accidentally. Promise not to repeat this, Ibarra?
Yeah.
Well, I practically fell over a little slip of paper in his studio. It was a receipt from a department store, and it was made out to Bruce Gordon.
For 1 Panama hat?
Uh-huh. Nothing else but. When I finally got back to my place on Franklin Avenue, the sun was already up. And the people who work at nice, sane jobs were beginning to fill the streets. I'd been on the go for a steady 24 hours, so I could think of nothing but my bed. I was about to put my key in the lock when A next-door neighbor walked by, bid me a cheery good morning, and started down the corridor. Now, that alone wouldn't have disturbed my sleep, but why did he have to be wearing a white Panama hat?
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Featured in tonight's story were Jacqueline DeWitt as Isabel Gordon, Wilms Herbert as Uncle Avery Fairchild, Bill Lally as Bruce Gordon, Shep Menken as Skipper Martin, and Lou Krugman as Brock. Detective Lieutenant Ibarra is played by Jeff Corey. The special music was conceived and conducted by Richard Orant. Be sure to be with us again next week at this same time when Philip Marlowe says...
When her will was read, everybody figured she'd been crazy when she wrote it, and that included me. But I changed my mind after spending the night on an island with a pig, a cat, and an ape. Because in reality, they were people.
Tonight, Amos and Andy return to the CBS network. And along with all their friends, Kingfish, Lightnin, and Henry Van Porter, they're settling down for a permanent stay. Be listening for them later this evening over most of these same CBS stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
When the will was read, everybody figured she'd been crazy when she wrote it. And that included me. But I changed my mind after spending a night on an island with a pig, a cat, and an ape. Because in reality, they were people.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And now, with Gerald Moore starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's unusual story, Where There's a Will.
I had spent the whole day on a noisy job which had concerned itself with a lot of people who talked a lot and said nothing. When I finally locked up my office for the night, I was worn out. As I drove slowly along the street, I was glad to be heading for home and a little peace and quiet. At least that's what I thought. But when I pulled up for a full stop sign, only a half a block from my apartment, something happened which brought my little dream of peace and quiet to an end. The car door opposite me flew open, and something mighty excited jumped in.
I'm being followed. Drive on, please.
The law?
No, please drive on.
Okay, lady, get a good grip on the upholstery. There, that ought to do it. Now, what's the... Say, you look a little pale and beautiful.
I'm always pale when my heart's in my mouth.
Well, then why don't you swallow once, take a deep breath, and tell me who was after you?
There isn't much to tell. He was a nasty little man, that's all I know. So thanks for making like Barney Oldfield, and good night.
Hey, not so fast. It's impolite to hitch and run.
Look, mister, right now I'm up to my earrings in trouble, and that leaves very little time for small talk with strangers. Even nice ones.
Well, in that case, the name is Philip Marlowe, which takes care of the stranger part, and I'm a private detective, which makes trouble my business. Where do we go from there?
No place. $300,000 worth of hidden bonds, a screwy old lady, and a sculptor with a red beard are too much for any one-man police force, Mr. Marlowe. So again, good night.
Before I could say anything, she was out and gone. There was only the heady scent of taboo in the air, and the memory of a gorgeous profile with jet black hair and pale blue eyes. I sighed like a schoolboy and decided to put her under the heading of things that pass in the night. But I couldn't. Why, out of all the cars in Los Angeles, should she have picked on mine? Well, the next morning, as I was walking down the corridor to my office door, I was still seeing pale blue eyes Maybe that's why I didn't notice the man who waited outside my door until I was almost on top of him. He was well dressed and about 35. He looked like a man who had forgotten how to smile.
Marlowe.
Right.
I want to compliment you on your behavior last night, Mr. Marlowe. Barbara told me about it.
Oh? Come on in, Mr.
Shields. Edward Shields. Would you be interested in aiding 3 people in a search for more than $250,000 in negotiable bonds? 1% of which will be yours if the bonds are found?
Being a fairly fast man with figures, yes. Yes, I would.
Splendid.
I'd like a few details.
Well, Mr. Marlowe, my aunt, Bernice Mayhew Shaw, died, leaving her entire fortune to charity, with the exception of the bonds I mentioned. Those are to be divided equally among 3 of us, the sole heirs, if we find them within 24 hours.
That sounds like something you dream about after a midnight snack of pizza and pig's knuckles.
Perhaps. But you didn't know my aunt. Beside myself, the beneficiaries are Barbara Haynes, the girl you met last night. She was Aunt Bernice's personal secretary. And another nephew, Harlan Crane, who, at the moment, happens to be a sculptor.
Happens to be?
6 months ago, he was a sailor. Before that, a writer, without even a rejection slip to his name. My cousin is irresponsible, impetuous, and completely self-indulgent.
The will itself, Mr. Shields, what are the exact conditions?
At precisely noon today, the 3 of us are to meet with Luther Willard, my beloved aunt's lawyer, who will give us each a large sheet of tissue paper covered with specific markings. Individually, the sheets mean absolutely nothing. But combined, one over the other, the transparent sheets form a coherent map to the location of the bonds.
But why all the intrigue?
My dear departed aunt had a peculiar sense of humor. In addition to this, she was never particularly fond of any of us. She was sure that our individual shortcomings would make cooperation among us impossible, even for so short a period as 24 hours.
And the fact that a man followed Miss Haynes last night convinced you that there was something to that, huh?
Convinced me? No. He may have been nothing but a personature. Nevertheless, I do feel that to play safe, a 4th party, a custodian of the map, so to speak, would be advisable.
That's fine. When do I go to work, Mr. Shields?
At noon, at the lawyer's office. However, I regret that first you must be approved by the 3rd heir. I don't like to ask this, Mr. Marlowe, but would you mind very much calling on my cousin, Harlan, personally?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I think he might prove very interesting.
Yes. I am sure he will. As interesting as an ape in the zoo.
I felt like saying, look, Shields, I'm not as gullible as I look. But then I thought a client's a client, and I decided to play along. Harlan Crane, 6 foot, red-bearded giant, talked as he worked, wielding a 10-pound sculptor's mallet like it was an 18th century quill.
I'll be frank with you, Marlowe. Money isn't everything to me and never has been. However, $100,000 will buy a lot of marble.
Half the state of Vermont, I'd say. But coming to the point, Mr. Crane, do I get your seal of approval?
Oh, I imagine you'll be all right. Anyone who can get by Shields, the all-American Scrooge, ought to do.
Thanks, a million.
I'm not being personal where you're concerned. It's just a matter of facing a fact bluntly. Edward Shields is conniving, avaricious, and dull. I heartily recommend him to nobody.
And the girl, Barbara, you feel the same way about her?
No, I don't. And the truth of the matter, Marlowe, is that I know very little about Barbara Haynes. What I do know, I like very much.
Yeah, that I can understand.
Marlowe, do you realize that once you have the whole map in your possession, you're worth an awful lot of money?
Of course I do. The whole map, I have a market value of exactly $300,000.
That's right, fellow. $300,000, dead or alive.
I know it was small of me, but I didn't exactly see the joke. And things got less funny as time went on. Later, as me and my trio got off the elevator at the lawyer's office, old Luther Willard, Aunt Bernice's attorney, was waiting for us, so excited he could hardly talk.
I've been held up.
What?
Yes. A little man. He wanted the map.
Little man, dark complexion?
Yes. Had a scar on the side of his neck.
Are the maps all right?
The maps? Oh, yes, they're all right.
Now, wait a minute, everybody. Give him a chance. Mr. Willard, tell us exactly what happened.
This is Mr. Marlowe. We told you about him, Mr. Willard.
Of course, yes. Come into my office. You see, I was putting some papers into my safe when this little man stepped up behind me and demanded the maps.
Were they in the safe?
No, thank heavens. Make yourselves comfortable.
The
please.
maps, Mr. Willard. Where are they now?
Well, right here, where they were all the time. Here under the blotter on my desk. Clever of me, wasn't it? Wax seals still intact.
I'll take all three of them right now, Mr. Willard. That is, if there are no objections. All right, then I guess we can be on our way.
Hold on, Mr. Marlowe. There are still two things you people must know. First, in the event the bonds are not recovered within the 24 hours, I am instructed to open another sealed envelope, which I am happy to report is kept in my bank vault. That envelope contains a complete and simplified map and is to be turned over to a designated charity. And second, if any of you die before the allotted time is up, the bonds are to be divided among the surviving persons.
And if none of us survives, Mr. Willard?
Why, in that case, the bonds again go to charity. You see, Helen, your aunt was a very generous woman.
After arranging to meet with the three heirs at Shields' place later that afternoon, I headed for the nice and public library, where I figured I'd be able to examine the maps in safety. By placing the three maps exactly one over the other, I saw that the bonds were hidden on the larger of two squares of land called Twin Islands, which were the personal property of the late Bernice Mayhew Shaw, and located in Indian Lake in the San Bernardino Mountains. As I left the library with the three maps in my pocket, I felt like a well-fed mallard on the opening day of hunting season. Then I knew I was being followed. As I slipped into a doorway and turned, I saw it was the nasty little man with the scar.
All right, you, we're through playing tag.
Oh, let me go.
Not yet, Shorty, not until you talk loud and clear.
No, don't hit me, please. Please hit me down. I'll tell you everything.
All right. If you're sure you can get it all straight the first time, there. Now the whole story, beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, like you say, whole story. Okay. Starts like this. Oh!
By the time I figured out that it had been the sawed-off end of a broomstick that had slammed my stomach up against my backbone, the little man was out of sight. Another 5 minutes went by before I quit calling myself sucker and I started to think straight. The nearest public locker was in the Santa Fe Trailways bus depot on Cahuenga. I went up there and deposited 2/3 of the map for safekeeping until we were ready to leave for Indian Lake. And I found a telephone, and a half a dozen calls later I knew that a caretaker named Jumbo was the sole inhabitant of Twin Islands, and my last call was to him. I wanted some kind of a welcoming committee ready for us. When I left the phone booth, it was only 1 o'clock. So I returned to my apartment where I figured I'd rest until 3, when we were all to meet at Shields' place. But that was my second mistake. Because the moment I closed my apartment door, I was positive I wasn't going to get much rest. I had an unannounced visitor.
Yeah, you look surprised, Mr. Marlowe.
I am. I didn't recognize you at first without your broomstick.
Yeah, I traded that in on this .22 target pistol here. It's more expensive, but it's better. Makes me as big as you are. Maybe bigger.
Yeah, but how much does it do for your personality?
Quite a bit. Gives me poise. And poise gives me manners. So in asking for that map in your pocket, I'll even say please.
Come on, Marlowe. I won't say please twice.
No, I don't think you would. Here.
Thank you. Now, before I go, one more thing. The hall outside here is straight and narrow, right to the stairs, and that makes it fine for shooting. So after I step out, don't do anything rash. For a while.
So, loving life as I do, I didn't do anything rash for a while. In fact, I could have whipped up a nice 7-minute frosting before I moved at all. And I phoned the three heirs to get together at my apartment. When I finally had them all seated in front of me, I related the saga of the little man, including my premonition that one of the three present was signing his paychecks. Of course, I got nothing but Cupid doll innocence out of any of them. So after adding that we'd get underway just as soon as the missing 1/3 of the map was returned to me, I threw my trench coat over my arm and told them I was going for a walk. But before leaving them, I reminded them that whoever was behind the little man could fire him, because I would never have kept all 3 maps in one place anyway, unless all of the heirs were on hand to watch one another. And then I left. I hadn't walked more than a half a block up Franklin when I stopped at the sound of Barbara running after me.
Phil, I'm scared. Harlan and Shields are acting like a couple of wild men, calling each other every name under the sun.
What'd you expect? Chit-chat about the weather? Now quit acting like a bobby soxer within squealing distance of Sinatra and try a cigarette. It'll calm your...
What is it, Phil? Why are you smiling like that? What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong, Barbara, nothing. It's just that I found this in the pocket of my trench coat when I went for my cigarettes.
It's the map.
That's right. The missing third. It's back already. When that missing third part of the map turned up so fast, I figured the heirs had decided to play ball. But I made a mental note to keep my eyes on them anyway. At 3 o'clock, I went to Edward Shields' hillside house in Laurel Canyon for the scheduled meeting. Shields wasn't home yet, but Cousin Harlan was there, admiring the view. Barbara showed up a few minutes later in a convertible, and Shields arrived last by cab. It finally began to look as though we might actually start out all together.
Well, I see we all arrived, safe and sound.
Yeah. Disappointed?
Only by your clumsy attempts at humor, Harlan.
Stop it, boys. Let's get started. Phil, have you looked at the map? Where are we going?
To Indian Lake. It's a 4-hour drive, so if you're all ready, I suggest we get started.
Very well. I'll go up to the garage and get the car.
So Aunt Bernice hid the bonds in a roost at Twin Islands, eh? Well, well, well.
Nobody seemed surprised at the location Aunt Bernice had chosen to hide her bonds. And Harlan, Barbara, and I stood on the front porch watching Shields as he climbed the very steep driveway to his garage in the car. But Barbara got more of my attention than Shields. She made a mighty dreamy picture. And she leaned casually back against the rail of the porch. She wasn't aware that I was watching her. And I suddenly saw her go tense, her eyes filled with fear, and I quickly turned to follow her stare. Shields' car was going at a rapid clip down the steep driveway. I still couldn't figure out Barbara's concern, and then she started screaming.
The car's out of control.
The car was headed for the edge of a cliff.
His brakes are out.
You go over. The tree stopped him.
Shields, are you hurt?
No, I'm all right. The brakes. I tried to stop
You
them.
hadn't hit that tree.
You'd have gone over the edge.
Let's have a look at those brakes, Shields. Well, no wonder.
What is it?
Brake line's broken. Every drop of fluid drained out.
I might have been killed.
No might about it, Shields. We stood there for a while, all looking at one another, but nothing was said. Brake lines rarely snap accidentally. And I remembered that Harlan had been at Shields' house early, and the car had been in the garage, and Barbara... Well, I had to admit that she actually had anticipated the car going out of control. Well, the 24 hours for finding the bonds was slipping by, and I knew we had to get to Indian Lake. We held a short powwow without passing the peace pipe, and we decided to take Barbara's car. We picked up the rest of the map, which I'd checked at the bus station, and we shoved off. After a 4-hour drive that was about as relaxing as the thought of an overdue time bomb in a day nursery, we finally pulled up to the shores of Indian Lake. Jumbo, the caretaker, was waiting at the dock. He knew how to handle a boat, and a few minutes later we could see Twin Islands. We headed for the smaller of the two, where I could make out a rambling lodge. The other island, a quarter of a mile away, seemed deserted. Shields was the first one ashore.
Here, Barbara, let me help you.
Run along, boy. I'll help Barbara.
Thanks, Harlan. Well, Marlowe, what now?
Well, first we go up to the house. Oh, Jumbo, you got everything ready for us? Hey, Jumbo.
Huh? Oh, sure. Everything's ready, Mr. Marlowe. Just like you said, I opened 4 of the upstairs rooms.
Open the rooms? We're not going to sleep out here, are we?
We're going to try.
But this isn't a vacation. We're here to find the bonds and get out. You realize it's almost 9 already?
That leaves us just 15 hours, Marlowe.
Yeah, I know. I got a good watch, and I count to 24, and I'm also giving orders to
Don't
you 3.
get high-handed, Marlowe. You're an employee of ours, and that's all. Let's get the map together and start looking for those bonds right now.
Take it easy, big man. The bonds are hidden on the other island. The map is as tangled as a second-hand spider web. We wouldn't get anything at all down in the dark.
That's your opinion.
Look, you people hired me to help you find those bonds. If I have to get nasty to make you take orders, I can do that, too. Now, let's play like we're smart and go up to the lodge and relax.
All right, Marlowe. But remember, we'd better have those bonds by tomorrow, or someone else will be nasty. Very nasty. And I mean me.
What? You too? Getting the three heirs settled down at dinner table was quite a chore. And when I was sure they'd keep an eye on each other, I slipped outside. I hid 1/3 of the map in a drain pipe. Then I went upstairs to my room, and I hid another third in the window shade. Now, the maps were settled, and I began to think about other things, like the accident to Shields' car. And there were too many accidents and coincidences to suit me. So I decided to drop in on Cousin Holland's room to see what I could see. After 15 fruitless minutes, I was about to leave when something in the wastebasket caught my eye. The corner of a half-hidden handkerchief monogrammed H.C. I had just picked it up when I saw Jumbo standing in the open door.
That handkerchief there in your hand. That blood on it?
No, it looks more like brake fluid. And in this case, it's practically the same thing, huh? I think we'll leave it right here in the wastebasket, Jumbo. Oh, did you want something?
Just wanted to say I'll be in my own place out back if you want me.
Okay. You know where Mr. Shields is?
He's out in the veranda.
Alone?
Yeah?
Thanks, Jumbo. If I need anything, I'll call you. Good night. Shields.
Oh, it's you, Marlowe. What's wrong?
You sound like a man expecting trouble.
I was nearly killed in my car this afternoon, and I don't think that was the end of it.
Yeah, and don't stand too close to high windows.
Thank you. It's comforting to know that I am not alone in my suspicions.
Maybe, how are you betting? On the beauty or the beast?
Don't be absurd. I hope someday to marry Barbara.
Yeah? Well, a guy might be beating your time right now with a sculptor's mallet.
You may be naive, Mr. Marlowe, but Barbara isn't. I saw them just a moment ago walking down to the boathouse. Harlan's galloping after her like a half-baked idiot, as usual. But if Miss Haynes prefers me, what can he do about it?
There was an answer for that, but it seemed a little obvious under the circumstances. Well, a few minutes later, Shields went inside, and I made a beeline for the boathouse to water down a certain hot-headed sculptor named Harlan. When I got within earshot, I knew I'd be as welcome as whooping cough at a glassblower's convention. So I stopped and listened.
Barbara, darling, I'm falling in love with you. You know that, don't you? Let me hold you close.
Harlan, Oh, Harlan.
This is real, Barbara. For the first time in my life, I'm truly in love. I want to do things for you, make you happy.
Please wait. I'm not completely free. There are still ties with Edward, you know.
Shields. That fat, stingy Babbitt. He's no man for you. Why, if he so much as touches you from now on up... Wait a minute, Barbara. Marlowe, you cheap snooping eavesdropper.
Eavesdropping's a minor vice compared to some of the shenanigans going on around here.
Just what do you mean by that?
A word to the wise is sufficient. I'll give a few more. Now, somebody's trying to cut our little triangle down to two sides before noon tomorrow. What I've seen so far I don't like, so I'm warning everybody.
Just what are you accusing me of? Why,
Harlan, stop it. Don't be a fool. Will you cavemen control yourselves until those bonds are found? Come on, Harlan, let's go in. Good night, Marlowe. Don't get your head caught in any transoms.
Deciding sleep wouldn't be very healthy for a man in my position, I decided to sit up that night. And it was about 2 o'clock when I looked out the window and saw something mighty interesting. A light was moving on the other island opposite us. I got hold of Jumbo and we went over there as fast as we could.
There we're beach. That light's dead ahead, Mr. Marlowe. Looks to me like it's up on the picnic shelter.
Yeah, I'll see you later, Jumbo.
Who's there?
Guess who?
Oh, Marlowe. I didn't hear you come up. The wind's too strong, I guess. I'm glad to see you. Spooky here all alone.
Oh, sure. What's the idea? Decide to do a little freelance prospecting?
Oh, that's right. Bernice Mayhew loved this spot, and I had a hunch she hid the bonds here in the base of this table. Oh, I guess I was wrong. Oh, come on, Marlowe. Limber up. You can't blame me for trying.
Listen, beautiful, don't flap your eyelashes at me. I can't see anything but double crosses right now. All right, if you've had your fun, let's go back to the lodge,
Don't be that way, Phil. Phil, the sun will be coming up in 2 or 3 hours. Why not wait for it here with me?
Barbara, baby, don't burn up too many calories with that routine. Because I only keep 1/3 of the map on me.
You think you're so smart.
Bright ideas hatch in that cute little brain of yours, too. Now let's... Oh, comes the gun with a pearl handle, no less.
Stay away from me, Marlowe. Over there.
Hey, what's going on here, Eddie?
Jumbo!
Look out, Jumbo! Jumbo stepped into the light and Barbara turned. I made a swipe at her gun hand that knocked pistol, purse, and lamp all over the picnic shelter. I found the gun and gave it to Jumbo. Then I started to pick up an assortment of knickknacks that had spilled out of her purse. But I never finished, because one of the items made my eyes pop. It was the monogrammed handkerchief covered with brake fluid that I'd found in Holland's room. It all made sense now. It tied up everything that I'd suspected right along. Only 2 of my trio had planned to split up the $300,000 worth of bonds from the first. As I ran for the motor launch, I yelled at Jumbo to bring Barbara over in the rowboat. All the way back, I had the panicky feeling that I was probably too late. But when I sneaked in the front door of the lodge, there were still 2 voices, and they came from the open kitchen door. With my hand on my gun, I edged along the wall and peeked in.
Shields, you're a fool.
Perhaps. But I'm going to kill you and have a perfect case of self-defense.
What are you talking about?
Your hopelessly framed cousin, Harlan. I ruined the brakes on my own car. I planted your handkerchief, stained with brake fluid, in your room. Marlowe found it. He's convinced that you tried to kill me. He's also convinced that he was brought into this whole thing by coincidence. He doesn't know that he was deliberately involved in our search for the bonds, just so he'd make a reputable witness.
You're out of your mind.
Not at all. I'm going to kill you and say it was self-defense. Marlowe will testify that you tried to kill me before.
What Marlowe's going to do is blow your head off if you don't drop that gun, Shields.
Marlowe?
Yeah, Marlowe. Who knows he wasn't brought into this thing by coincidence, but has stuck around to see the fireworks and who almost saw them just now.
Bill, what's happened?
Barbara, couldn't you hold Marlowe on the other island? You
Shut up, Shields. Barbara's little mistake was that she should have gotten rid of Holland's handkerchief after she took it out of his room so he wouldn't see it.
Barbara, I don't understand. You planned all this with Shields against me?
Well, I did in the beginning, Harlan, but I changed my mind when I fell in love with you. I let Marlowe find the handkerchief in my purse. I wanted him to stop Edward. Oh, darling, don't you see...
Come on, Miss Bankhead. Cut the dramatics. The show's over. Let's have it straight, huh?
All right. We might as well if we're going to find those bonds before it's too late. Edward and I did plan it. We even hired the little man who tried to get the maps from you.
And when that didn't work, you planned to get rid of Holland and split the $300,000.
So we failed. So what? We're right back where we started. 100,000 apiece. Now let's go find those bonds.
Not so fast, beautiful. What happened to Holland just now was a little more serious than a hot foot. It was attempted murder. He can slap you 2 in the jug this minute if he wants to. But I'll leave it up to him. Okay, Harlan, what do you say? It's your move.
No. I've got a better idea. Marlowe, 1/3 of that map is mine. Give it to me.
Okay. There it is.
Harlan, what are you going to do?
Harlan, no. Don't burn it.
There. Now we all lose. Now none of us will get the bonds. That's probably how Aunt Bernice wanted it anyway.
It was almost noon. I was standing on the veranda of the lodge, and a scrawny old crow was perched up on the roof. I saw Barbara and Shields quietly pull away in a boat with Jumbo. And I saw Holland lumbering off to the far end of the island to sulk. And as I watched the 3 of them, I couldn't help thinking. A pig in a pinstriped suit, an ape with a red beard, and an alley cat in nylon. Yeah. Keep laughing, Aunt Bernice. You were right. Greed, treachery, and rashness don't mix, even for 24 hours. And the 1% of the bonds I was to get? Well, that's my contribution to charity. Who knows? Maybe I can take it off my income tax.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Featured in tonight's story were Mary Shipp, Parley Bear, Don Diamond, Ted Von Eltz, and Wilms Herbert. The special music was conceived and conducted by Richard Orant. Be sure to be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
When I got the crisp $50 bill in advance, I figured my client had a heart of gold. But after I was beat up, double-crossed, and shot at, I realized just how hard a heart of gold could be.
Raymond Chandler, Dashiell Hammett, John Dixon Carr. 3 great names in the world of mystery and thrills. 1 down, 2 to go today on CBS. Now that you've heard Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe in action, CBS invites you to hear Dashiell Hammett's Sam Spade in action tonight, followed by John Dixon Carr's personally written radio series, Cabin B-13. Chandler, Hammett, Carr, today and every Sunday, over most of these CBS stations. It's a mystery if you miss them. Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.